Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and I'm joined by co-host Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben, and indeed, hello everybody. You all right?
Well, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, all right. Mustn't complain. Certainly not anything podcast relevant.
Don't complain. Please don't complain. Well, you can't complain. This is a safe space for everybody, listeners and hosts alike. If you got any complaints or anything you need to bring up, admin, general admin. No, so
All right, we'll save the complaining for later if we have any. Who knows?
we might have some complaining. It seems like a lot of people have got a lot of complaints based on the movie we're going to be covering today. Um, I'd say justifiable, but of course we will get into that.
A bit
What?
later.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we'll just mention that if you're watching on YouTube, you might be confused because Andy has got a background which doesn't seem to be relevant to Halloween Ends, without spoiling too much. Although we are going to spoil the movie today, Halloween
Yeah,
Ends.
it's new, but so spoilers. So listen if you don't care, or it won't spoil your enjoyment. We will do plot beat for beat. If you
It
are
won't
going to watch it,
spoil.
pause it
It
for you.
won't spoil your
Yeah.
enjoyment. I like that.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry. So what's the relevance of your background?
Oh,
Without
nothing. I just sometimes feel like maybe I'll have. Sometimes it's good to just take a completely different, some would say, irrelevant direction in your background, and then maybe Halloween will end in my background in the last 20 minutes or so of the podcast.
Okay, I see what you're doing there. My background looks like what you mentioned, a scene from maybe EastEnders,
Yeah,
a,
it
dom-
looks.
a domestic dispute. Get out of my pub, but it's more
It
like
does.
get out of my kitchen, for God's sake.
Get out of my Haddonfield, my all.
Get out of me, Haddonfield. They've just leave Haddonfield for God's sake. Nothing but trouble.
And
She's
then
got
Michael
like,
will be out and be like, I'm your dad. I'm your
what do you?
dad. I've been
I'm your,
shagging your wife. I'm your dad.
I've been shagging your wife and your dad. What do you think that is on the fridge? There's like a letter on the fridge with a little duck magnet. What do you think it is? It looks like a
Takeaway menu.
P60. Oh no, you look at the other side. I'm looking behind. It looks like a P60, P45.
Oh, it
Don't get
doesn't
them in
look.
America.
It's got some really odd formatting. Look at that font.
Yeah. Michael Myers is fuming with it. He just wants to. Although one thing we do realize is that he's actually quite one of his weaknesses is fridges. It seems.
Yeah.
But well, obviously, yes, we will get into that. We'll
He's
cover that
weak against Bridget. He spends quite a lot of this film quite poorly.
incredibly poorly. Yeah, as you would do if you were in a sewer for 4 years eating nothing but I don't know soiled nappies and
And your fingers chopped off. It's gonna get infected. Dipping it in sewer water.
oh, disgusting. This is a weird film, and I think for that point we've got a hell of a lot to cover. So let's give ourselves that time that we need by jumping quickly into horror news and mentioning first off that Halloween Ends has made nearly $60 million worldwide so far. It's the number one movie in the US, and pretty much all major domestic charts as well. So, despite the fact that it's released on demand as well, on I think it's Peacock, something like that.
Yeah, it's on Peacock in the US, isn't it?
Despite the fact that it's released on there, it's made a lot of cheddar. It's made a lot of dough. Um, People are very keen. Obviously, I guess that Halloween Kills, which opened to 49 million, in 2021, which is kind of weird because you kind of think, if anything, I would have thought Halloween Kills would have like killed some of the hype for this trilogy. If it was a good film, I can imagine why Halloween Ends would suddenly be hyped up as much as it is. But I guess people are just like, are they forgetting that film? Or I know some people did enjoy it.
Don't know. It's the spooky season. Nights are drawing in. Get the cinema, don't you?
Nights are drawing in. I don't want to pay for my own lecky and gas, keeping me warm and toasty in my house. I want to get myself to a cinema, where for some reason when it's cold outside, get the heating on, and when it's cold inside, get the aircon on, full blast.
Chattering away. Not just spooky. Cold.
chattering away like the chatterer from Hellraiser last week. Yeah, so it's always good to see horror movies making a lot of money. And I saw you having a few tweets earlier where you were talking about like remakes and sequels and stuff, and the fact that what were you talking about? I'm sorry, I peered in. I had a little peer in. I was like Michael Myers peering out
You're
into
standing out, you're standing out in the
Haddonfield.
leaves, having a little look into the Haddonfield that was my Twitter
Your
exchanges.
tweets, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was talking to, we can call a friend of the show, right? I was talking to Zoe, and she was commenting about the new Hellraiser film. She enjoyed it very much, if her tweets are to be believed, and why wouldn't they be? Saying she enjoyed it very much. Someone else had replied to her and said, "Oh, didn't see that it needed remaking," and Zoe had pointed out that she'd used to have been dead against remakes, but actually now, if it introduces a new audience to a film, good. And my addition to that was that, yeah, I probably felt the same. I think younger. I think it's your first. Is it your first experiment with being grumpy and old about anything? Is it like, oh, get to be wanky about a thing and going, no, remaking this, are you?
Oh.
Remaking this Oxide and Neutrino. The casualty music was fine, thanks. Um, yeah,
Of all the examples
yeah.
you could have plucked out the air, I had that on CD single, so you're
So did I. Yeah,
talking to the right guy.
add that one. Not of all the things I'm known for, Ben. My drum and bass credentials probably not one of them, but
The
I did
B
have,
the B
I did have
B
that
side
on
was
there.
just a remake. It was just a remix. What a waste of time. I like it when it's a different track completely.
When you got a banger, why not double down?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's maybe your first experiment at anything in media saying, "Oh, I don't like remakes." But now I feel similar to Zoe that actually, why not remake remake what you want, remake what you want because
Yeah.
best case scenario, a new audience sees it, and best case scenario, it's real good.
Mm.
Worst case scenario, it's no good. You've wasted your money, bad for you. But more people will like the old one will always still exist. You can't delete it. Let's use the same
No.
videotapes. And um, in many cases, if a film comes out that is disappointing, and people go, "Well, that one very good," and they say, "Well, actually, the original one was really good," maybe those new audiences will go and find that.
Yeah. It's a good point, and I think something like Evil Dead is a great example. I think everybody was like Evil Dead remake. Oh my god, the absolute travesty of that. And then when it came out, and it was awesome. Everyone was, and
Still one of
again,
my favorites.
a completely different film as well. So it wasn't like they've just done it shot for shot. I think my only minor annoyance of remakes is when they take a foreign language movie, remake it, and essentially the only thing they change is the main language of it.
Yeah,
And I'm almost like, well, that to me that seems almost like a pointless exercise. And that is a bit of a shame because that almost does sometimes kind of, for some audiences, eradicate the original from existence because people are just like, well, what, for people who don't like subtitles, why would I watch that when I could just watch, why would I watch Let the Right One In when I can watch Let Me In? Because it's not that much different, is it really? That's the only time I think I'd be a little bit disappointed. I think when films are like 30, 40, to a lesser degree, 20 years old, and they're successful, moderately successful, and then and there is a remake, isn't always going to work out, won't always be a hit. But yeah, I think I agree with that point of it reaching a new audience. Yeah, which is why I don't think I was particularly annoyed when the new Halloween came out, because soft reboot, I guess. Evil Dead, yes, but yeah, I think the only ones that kind of do, a perfect example is that movie Goodnight Mummy, which I think is only a few years old, and then it's
yeah.
got obviously got,
When something's new and they've done
mm,
shot for shot, just redub it. If you're desperate for a non, if you're desperate for
yeah,
a non foreign language movie because subtitles are difficult, then by all
yeah,
means redub it.
perfect.
Redub it if you must. Give your money to the poor.
Perfect. Give your money to the poor. Perfect example of that as well is when Wreck got remade and then called Quarantine, because that was the same film, just with American actors, just with English speaking actors, and that almost feels like a bit of a spit in the face of the filmmakers, where they're just like, just because yours isn't English, it's not good enough for
Yeah, it's not good enough to be popular mainstream cinema,
Mm,
and like so many of those films as well I feel like the setting or the the culture behind some of those is sometimes essential to the delivery of the movie. And I will be, I'm going to show my prejudice here because I think this coming out was in prime I don't like remakes territory, and I haven't rewatched it for years. I should give it another chance because I know it's actually meant to be good. Didn't like the American version of The Ring when it came out.
Oh yeah, of course.
I really didn't care
I think
for
you
it.
mentioned that before, yeah.
And I'll be very honest. I think I've only watched it the once. I didn't like it, and I haven't cared enough to watch it again. Hearing you talk about it, maybe I should give it another shot because I hear it's it's got good people in it, and they do try to do something different with it. But at
Yeah.
the time, I was big into like a lot of like Japanese horror that I was watching at the time. I'd just watched things like Audition. I think Battle Royale was probably my favorite movie and novel at the time that I watched it. Um, and I felt it was really difficult for them to translate what was so culturally embedded in kind of the Japanese culture behind it all and the characters that were in there, that I found it really difficult to look at it from another angle. I thought, what's that bit with the horse? Don't even know what's going on there. Like, I just jumped off
the
that
boat or something,
ferry.
yeah.
Um,
Hated it.
yeah.
Seasick. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I saw the American Ring before I saw Ringu, so for me, it was almost like kind of caught me at the perfect time when I hadn't gone into like my love of Asian cinema, which came a few years later, I think, when I eventually saw that film. So, but yeah, I completely understand. And it's a good point, isn't it? Okay, so moving swiftly on from that big topic. Um, there's a there was an image shared yesterday, which was like a title treatment for Silent Hill, and apparently Konami are going to reveal some sort of update about the franchise this Wednesday. So, if you're listening to this episode on Wednesday, October the 19th, probably the day this episode releases on all platforms, then please keep your eye out for an update from Silent Hill. I was a bit like, oh, what's it going to be? New game or something? But you weren't so sure. You weren't so
Oh,
sure.
I saw people diving into you on Facebook to pour cold water on those expectations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've seen what they've been doing with things like Metal Gear and so on.
Yeah.
Konami, I think, maybe more than any other, you know, Sega nip at their heels sometimes, but for a company with so many wonderful, like beloved IPs in their pocket, either choose to do nothing with them or do shit things with them. It feels like for such a long time, and I think that there's a large swathe of people that haven't forgiven them for Silent Hills, aka PT, just being
Silent
absolutely
Hills.
drowned.
And then what was the latest Metal Gear thing? That Metal Gear
Oh,
Survive.
Metal Gear Survive, right?
Yeah. Don't think I gave it even a second of my
I,
time.
I've not downloaded it. I didn't. I mean, it's on Game Pass and stuff, I believe, or at least was. But like the whole thing about, do you want to pay for a second save slot, or just the grind of it and the and everything
Yeah.
else? I didn't even engage with it in the least. They need to finish the last Metal Gear game, um, but yeah, they've got a habit recently of claiming to do an announcement about a game and then be like,
Okay.
"Oh, I'll tell you what, here's a gambling machine that we're doing with the license on it, or here's a
So
blockchain thing that we're doing." I'm like, okay,
yeah. What did we say? Pyramid Head themed pyramid tea bags from
yeah. I mean, I'd do
TG.
that.
That'd be good though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be good. I'd like that. The only reason I thought maybe it is a big announcement is because I know it sounds silly, but title treatment, what looks like a new title treatment. It doesn't look like a old one. Most of the time, again, I'm just spitballing here. Most of the time, for me at least, I'm like, okay, that's something new. That's something to. And it says like, in your restless dreams, do you see that town? Now, whether that means new game, whether it means remake, remaster, or something like that, there's memes going around, and there have been memes going around for a number of years where it's like Silent Hill in terms of all the major survival horror franchises, have always been getting stiffed.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, you got a series, you got a movie, you got a new game, you got DLC, you got all this stuff coming at you all the time. Silent Hill, nothing. Not a sausage, not a crumb. Can I just have a crumb of content, please? Can I have
Little
something?
slither of Silent Hill.
And then there was obviously obviously we got the Callisto Protocol, we got a Dead Space remake, we've got Resident Evil DLC, and then what else have we got next year? I just thought there was a few other horror game. Alone in the Dark, new Alone in the Dark. Yeah. And probably someone else. But it seems like every horror franchise is going, wow, we've got some brand new for you, some brand new delicious content.
Or Silent Hill, that's the skeleton at the bottom of the pool.
That's the skeleton at the bottom of the pool, yeah, exactly. Exactly. My favorite meme. My favorite meme template. But yeah, let's see what happens.
I hope we get something. I cynicism aside, I think if they, with the content they've put out and the fact that they do a lot of ridiculous things, but I don't think they're so lacking in awareness that they would publish something, say, hey, big announcement this week, and then it be some new Silent Hill coasters are available.
We got some Silent Hill lunchboxes for you.
Yeah. I don't think they would do that. So hopefully it will be a new game or movie or a TV series that's in vogue right now. Yeah, hopefully a bit of media. Tell you what, Ben, I'm going to put a difficult choice in front of you, though. In true Twitter, you can only choose one style.
Okay.
Right. So you've got an opportunity here. You've saved the life.
Don't talk to me in that tone of voice because I think I'm doing a quiz again.
And well, you've got an opportunity. There's not a right or wrong answer, Ben. That's the difference.
Okay.
You're given the keys to the kingdom and you get to make the decision. You're going to greenlight one new game in a franchise. So the hopes of this franchise being reinvigorated and carrying on anew is down to you making this decision now. The other one is going back in.
I feel like I know what you're going to say.
Going into that warehouse, the Ark of the Covenant one, lost for all time.
Okay.
Silent Hill Dino Crisis.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. First of all, I was like, where's he going with this? And I knew it. It's got to be Dino Crisis, isn't it? Because...
Yeah, fuck off, Pyramid Head. Dinosaurs forever.
I honestly feel like that would be... It would just be amazing. It'd be amazing and so unexpected, I think. With Silent Hill, you're like, okay, this is a huge franchise with lots and lots of games. And sure, it's been quiet for a while. I'm sure they canned a very big project, which had Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima. That's right, isn't it? All those people involved?
Yeah, they're all over it.
They're all over it. But you still kind of hold out hope where you're like, eventually something else is going to come along for them. Did Elijah Wood retweet it as well? And people were going on about that, the Silent Hill tweet. Elijah Wood retweeted it with some eye emojis. But I feel like with Dino Crisis, it would be completely unexpected. We've only essentially had 3 games, and not even any like spin-offs or anything like that. 3 games, and the third one was an absolute shit show. So I think, yeah, Dino Crisis with like the RE engine, because obviously is a
cool. Look at that! What a time!
Can you imagine?
Imagine the promotional escape room for that. Yes.
Oh yes. But I think I'd like Dino Crisis anything, to be fair. So, sorry, Silent Hill. If it did come down to that, I would take Dino Crisis. But fortunately, we're not living in that world. We could get both. I don't know. I'd be way more excited. Like, I think right now, if you said, oh, there's going to be a new Resi game, a new Metal Gear game, a new Silent Hill game, a new pretty much anything, Dino Crisis feels so forgotten in time. Like, just like the dinosaurs that are the antagonists. I'd love it. You get me all excited now.
Yeah, bring him in. That's what we want.
Come on, Regina.
But you spoke about, you mentioned it in passing with the other ones. Other bit of horror news. Seen old master of horror himself, old John Carpenter. Apparently, he's got a little bit of downtime these days, and he loves doing a bit of streaming. He loves playing a few games.
Yes, he does. He's
big into Dead Space, even the third one. And he says, "Tell you what, Dead Space would be a good film. I could do that, and I'd love to see you do it, John."
Oh, of course we would. Now, I think he said it before, but I think he's like doubled down on it this time, right? I think he said it in passing. I don't know. Maybe someone just walked past him and said, "What? How you doing, John?" He went, "Oh, I bloody love Dead Space. Love to make a film." And oh yeah. Now in my head, the cynic in me is going, "Would it just be like Ghost of Mars?" But that's the cynic in me. The other part of me thinking, the Master of Horror with the Thing. There's obviously loads of body horror with the what are they called? Necromorphs.
Necromorphs, yeah.
Necromorphs. Loads of body horror with that. Um, just cast Kurt Russell for God's sake.
Yeah.
No one cares. Isaac, he's got his helmet on the old time. No one cares. Didn't even speak in the first game.
Yeah.
He is speaking in the remake though, isn't he?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
some clips of it, and he's going to do some talking.
Yeah. I mean, he did talking in Dead Space 2 and 3, didn't he? But yeah, that would be amazing. Somebody funds that. Obviously he's not made a movie for a while, has he? What's his last movie?
What's the Ward?
The Ward?
Is it got?
Yeah,
It's got a more complicated name than that. It's
The Warden.
It's
I don't know.
about it's
Shane
about
Ward.
Oh, Shane Ward.
Shane Ward, X Factor winner 2006. I don't even know if that's correct. If it is correct, I'm some sort of genius.
No Matt Cardle though, is he? Maniac Cop himself.
Yeah. Great throwback to a previous episode. Jumped back in time like 30 episodes. I like it. That's commitment. Okay, and the only other bit of news I've got is the Wicker Man TV series is being turned. Sorry, the Wicker Man is being turned into a TV series with Andy Serkis helming it. Old Gollum himself, old King Kong himself, old Caesar himself,
Old Ulysses Claw.
Ulysses Claw himself. Director of Venom 2. Let's remember that. Let's remember that before we go. Oh my God, the Wicker Man TV series helmed by Andy Serkis. He made Venom 2. Apparently, it will reportedly take place in a modern setting. The classic. That's pretty much all we got here. But
the Wickerman now, isn't that how the government currently runs in this country?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's exactly how it happens. Basically, this TV show is going to open with Liz Truss in a Wickerman
being burned up to revitalize the pork markets.
Yeah, to revitalize the pork markets. I'm visiting some pork markets. Yeah, I mean that's the only way for it to go out. I think. Not saying I wouldn't condone that, but I wouldn't condemn it. You know.
Maybe the sun god will bring back our crops.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Maybe that's what will happen. To be fair, if the UK just goes full folk horror, I'm up for it at this stage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's going to be like suggesting we have Wickermans in our houses, in our gardens to heat our homes over the winter.
Heating bill, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just get a Wickerman in there. It's fine. And find yourself a lovely virgin policeman to burn up in there as well.
Unfortunately, due to the loopholes, you have to give him a chance to shag the landlord's daughter. But if he doesn't take it, it's fair game.
Shag the landlord's daughter. I think the
that film. Oh, go on, she shags anyone. No, I shan't. I shan't actually, because I love the Bible and not having sex. Okay,
I do. Jesus Christ!
Get in the Wickerman, mate, Edward.
Get in the Wickerman, for God's sake. Yeah. So that is some horror news for this week. That's quite nice. Is there anything you've been watching this week? I know you've watched a certain something that we did mention last week.
Tell you what, yeah, I've been blitzing through. Tell me what's that one, and I'll make sure I cover that one first.
Deadstream, but also you can't have watched as much as you watched last week. You watched like 964 things last week.
Not far off, Ben. Not far off. Carrying on.
Been a busy boy, haven't you?
Carrying on. Yeah, Deadstream. Should we talk about that first? Because we've both seen that now.
Yeah.
I really like
How do you
it.
feel about that?
I think it might be one of my favorites this Halloween season.
I think it was at Fright Fest as well. And for some reason, we didn't get to see it when it was at Fright Fest. But yeah, it's pretty hilarious. And as a movie, like you'd compare it to a lot of people compare it to Dash Cam. It was like, oh, we got a bit of an abrasive, over the top protagonist. But sure, he's a dickhead, and sure he's problematic, but he's hilarious.
Yeah, not quite in the same way exactly.
No.
It's really tightly done. It's very funny. Um, it's played more overtly for comedy. Um, I really enjoyed it. It was really nicely paced. I loved the way that the shots were built on top of each other with him installing cameras.
Yeah.
I loved the kind of schlocky effects that we have here. Oh yeah,
Yeah, like the effects were kind of they weren't great, but this is the thing. The effects in the original Evil Dead aren't great, but it doesn't take you out of the film for what it is. It kind of looks a bit silly. It looks a bit not cheap, but it looks lower budget,
I
but
tell you
it just works.
what I'll tell you, Ben. This feels like it should be a pull quote. Put me on the box with this bad boy. Um, Deadstream is to the Blair Witch what Saints Row is to Grand Theft Auto.
Oh wow, okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Very, very niche metaphor for people
That's
who
good.
experience those other tangential pieces of media, but that's what it is. It's kind of like the
Uh,
template of that thing made ridiculous and fun.
hmm. Yeah. Definitely. I didn't think of any comparisons to Blair Witch, but yeah, I guess the found footage element of
Yeah,
it
it's like a
kind of
found
works.
it's like a found footage or like a POV, mostly POV. They engineer ways to get beyond that.
Mm.
But yeah, I it had a lot of really fun ideas. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, just like a really unexpected good time. Like okay, with a concept like that, you might think I know where it's going to go. It's going to go here, here, and here. It's going to probably back itself into a corner a bit, and then maybe go a bit a bit might be go in a few cliched directions. Maybe he's going to come good or go a bit serious towards the end, but it was just fun, and it's fun and still like jumpy and kind of scary and
Yeah,
exhilarating in the same way. So
it was very exhilarating. Yeah, so that was probably one of my picks of the month so far. But it's not the only thing
mm,
I've watched, Ben. I rattled through a few more.
yeah, of
I've
course.
been doing some more Hellraisers. I've done Hellraiser 5, which I think is called Inferno.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, Inferno. And after the time jumping adventures of Hellraiser 4, this is a story about a police detective who's on the trail of a murderer. Is he? Or is it a Hellraising?
He's on the trail of a murder, or is he on the trail of that little box that's
Yeah,
causing
it's
all
on the trail of
these?
that box. Yeah, so it's a police procedural Hellraiser time there. And after that, I watched Hellraiser 6, which is called Hellseeker. Um,
Hellseeker. Okay, is it?
I think so. And that's about this time. I lose track of the thing because
Oh no,
there
I don't
isn't there
blame you.
is there isn't necessarily anything about the heading that's about the film. She goes, "Am I right, Hellseeker?" I am. It doesn't. Um, in this one, he's a man whose wife is the original Christie from the original two. Don't get too excited
Okay.
though. She's gone from the very beginning.
Oh,
Yeah, so she like she's dead and he's lost his memory and there's all sorts of things going on, but he works in office and he has affairs. He loves the
he does what?
yeah,
I
he's
tell you what, like adultery is definitely a theme in
in
Hellraiser, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. People love shagging about in these Hellraisers films.
Yeah.
Gets you into trouble.
Mm.
I mean, if
Oh
you're gonna
yeah.
do like have one vice, be it puzzle boxes or shagging about, not both, please. Because if you like both of those things, then you're in for it in a Hellraiser movie. So that goes on there.
Hmm.
And I've just started, but hadn't got to finish before we got to recording. I'm halfway through currently. Hellraiser 7, Deaders.
What's it
Um,
called?
Deaders.
Deaders.
Yeah, I think the Deaders appear to be a bit like
Yeah,
they're a bit like a gang, and an investigative journalist has just met
okay.
a guy who is one of those classic that guys from like British dramas, um,
Okay.
on a
Classic.
train, and he's a lead on like an orgy train that she got on. Um,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Orgy train.
people just walking about, got the chop out and everything on there, just walking about, copping off with each other. And she goes, "You heard about this puzzle?" And we're seeing what's happening. She's starting to see some visions. She has opened the box, or maybe it was a dream about opening the box, and some chains came out. It's hard to keep track of these things. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the series has gone quite silly now. I'll be ready for the reboot that we've already watched by the time we get to the end. But I am going to finish it. I've watched. I've been doing a little bit of Raven Banner movies. For some of those I picked up a while ago. I've been watching Cyst, which is just an hour long,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
an
Yeah.
hour long gross out sort of slapstick horror comedy about a scientist who's got a laser for burning cysts off. Very gross. I watched the Pizzagate massacre,
Oh, oh my god!
and it
I've
was
only ever
same.
seen I've only ever seen the poster for this, and is it now? Is it a serious take on like the Pizzagate, or is it like satire?
It actually has. It is satire. It is a comedy.
Yeah.
Um, over the top. There are serious moments with like gunfights between like these militia people who believe there are these, led by the kind of the
Yeah.
agitator broadcasters talking about lizard people and going through these things. It's interesting. Like it's an interesting movie. It's crazy and it's over the top with the violence as well.
Yeah.
I have watched. I'm going to save that one for last. I've watched more of the Midnight Club. I'm not finished yet. I've got one episode of Midnight Club left to go.
Mhm.
At the very end of that, I watched Scare Package on Shudder, which was very fun.
Oh yeah.
Like just a little anthology.
Did you
With
see Scare Package 2?
not
No.
yet, not
No.
yet. Just seen the
Didn't
Scare
think so.
Package
Yeah.
one. Um, oh, the last thing we've both seen, and we'll talk about it. So I'll just cover the last of the things that I've been watching. Oh no, two more. I watched The Inside Man. I watched on BBC. Like a 4-part drama. It's got
Okay.
David Tennant as a thing. I would say not horror necessarily, but I have not watched anything so stressful in all my days. Just saying, oh no, oh no, oh,
Oh no, please.
just all the things that could possibly go wrong. It's one of those things where
Oh,
you watch it, and I know it could never happen this way because it would mean the the story wouldn't happen. But things that go wrong in this thing, and it's just stop and explain properly because you're making it worse, and it just gets worse
just
and
stop.
worse and
Just
worse.
communicate. Just communicate for God's sake. No, no, no.
Just, just phone the police. Just get it over with. It's horrible. But yeah, I watched that, and then the last thing before the thing we both watched together, I watched Stalker. It came out on VOD this week after we couldn't catch it at
Oh, did it? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's you can rent it now.
Bret Hart.
Yeah, blinking you miss him. But the rest of the cast,
Yeah.
it's like a pretty much a one scene movie. So good. I mean, I feel like I've said how much I enjoyed Deadstream. Stalker's probably up there as like it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Really, really brilliant.
That's good. Glad to hear it. What was the thing that we both seen?
The Wolfman.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. So before I talk about the Wolfman, what else have I seen this week? Oh, good question. I finished up with Dahmer, and the last few episodes, which when he gets incarcerated and eventually killed, are there's a lot of focus on the effect of his murders, not just on the victims and the victims' families, but also on the community as a whole, which I thought is an interesting thing to talk about, especially considering that's covered quite intently on Halloween Ends as well. How like a tragedy or an act of evil can affect a community as well. Um, Maybe it outstays its welcome for a while. I feel like if it was like 6 to 8 episodes, I could have possibly understood. The fact it goes 10 episodes feels like maybe too much to
A
spend
little bit
kind of
more.
going over the same sort of things. Yeah. There's also something called there's like the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes, which is on Netflix, but I don't know. I feel like I'm maybe I've had my fill to do with now, and I know it sounds like, yeah, of course
You're all damned out.
yeah, possibly all Dahmer out, but also like I'm definitely of the mindset of thinking getting of attention, you know. And obviously, it's happened a long time ago. He was arrested 30 years ago. But again, is it just one of those things where a violent killer is being given all this publicity, and then? But that is what I respect of the series, that at least it tries to tell the story of a lot of the victims. I say a lot of the victims, probably only 2 or 3 of them, maybe 4, but it could have done a bit better at like covering a lot of the victims' lives as well. Okay, so that was that, and I've almost finished the Rings of Power now, which I've really been enjoying. I think it's great. I'm all over Lord of the Rings stuff at the moment. I'm playing Shadow of War as well. So
Do you know who Sauron is now?
no, I don't. I've got
Whoever's got the
one.
hottest hand, whoever
I've
leaves whoever
got
leaves
one
the
to go.
whoever leaves the teaspoon in that thing the longest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like red herrings, I think, going on with it so far, and I almost kind of wish it didn't have that in it. I feel like that mystery for me isn't as important of it as a lot of the other stuff that's happening. So, but still, it's really good, and it looks lovely
I
as
think I've
well.
watched the
And I think,
first 3, maybe 2, maybe 3.
yeah, and it is good. I want to finish it off. The thing is, we watched so much horror stuff and Halloween, and some of the series I was watching, I kind of really did. They really did take a back seat, so now I'm just kind of going back to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back
Yeah,
and do that afterwards.
and the other film that I watched, which you also watched, was The Wolfman, 1941 Universal horror movie about a wolfman. The reason I watched this movie is because I joined the hosts, Ben and Rob from the Every Movie Ever podcast to chat about this. The episode is available now. I'll put it in the show notes. It's the latest episode. And yeah, I had a good time. As I said, when I put this out on socials, I was certainly howling with laughter. Oh yes. This film, and I know we talked about the cliffs of quality that I kind of sometimes struggle with, and since starting this podcast, I would have never really watched a movie from like earlier than like the 60s, maybe. I never really got on with them. But after doing this podcast, I've found a love of like some of the classic Universal monster movies and things like Nosferatu and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The Wolfman is problematic in a way, isn't it? Because you've got, I don't know, people say it's of its time. Yes, 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 of course. But when you've got a protagonist who is such a dick, for many reasons, it's really difficult to understand the tragedy of what eventually happens, and he eventually turns into a wolfman, because you're supposed to feel some nature of tragedy, but from the get-go, he's looking at women in their bedrooms with a telescope. He's going to their places of work, and kind of being like gaslighty, a bit coercive, pushy. I'm going to take you on a date, no matter if you like it or not. And then eventually, when he gets bitten by a wolf and turns into a werewolf, it's like, oh, poor me. No,
Like,
mate.
oh, I feel really uncomfortable going to church, and everyone reckons I'm a werewolf because I am.
Because I am. And I know. And I also mentioned, forget your transformations of an American werewolf in London. Forget your transformations of the Howling. This just focuses on the feet of Larry Talbot, aka the Wolfman, and they turn into werewolf feet. Although they kind of look like those big like gorilla slippers, big monster feet slippers you get like for Christmas sometimes.
And then you scroll back up, and he's a full-on wolfman. Goes and kills a man just digging a grave.
Yeah. Again, you can understand why it's iconic. Those scenes in like the forest and all the fog, sort of like blanketing the landscape and stuff, looks really, really great. And the Wolfman is an iconic look. You know, it's just he kind of looks a bit like a pig with a really thick, illustrious head of hair, reminding me of when someone goes to Turkey to get a hair transplant, or like one of those hair pieces which gets like glued onto their head, and then suddenly they've got like this a hair hat, if you like it, a hair helmet on their head.
Got a hair helmet, and then you would be ever so cross if you spent all your money on that. So you go out and just thump a gravedigger to death.
He's thumping people to death, and there's like a stick.
I
Well,
love
no,
that.
not...
I love the bit where I forget if it's the gypsy or the other person. It's like, and if someone comes, they turn into a werewolf, you can only kill them with a silver bullet, or like, and they mention loads of other things. or a stick if it's made of silver. Oh, funny that.
Or a stick, or anything, yeah. And of course, Bella Lugosi's in this as well, as a character called Bella. Just in case anyone was like, "Who is that? I recognise that guy. He looks a bit like someone I know." It's
It's
Bella
me, Bella.
Lugosi. That's who it is. It's me, Bella. Do you know? Come on, it's me. Come on. Do
He
you
was
recognise
probably
me?
like, maybe he's like the stereotype of vampire actors. He was like Blade. Old Wesley Snipes kid, right? You only refer to me as Bella when I'm on set today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not going to answer to any other name.
I think of all the Universal monster movies, it's probably sort of middle of the road for me. I think Creature from the Black Lagoon is probably my favorite. Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, probably I need a rewatch. We did that quite early on in the podcast, in the podcast history.
I'm quite
And
a fan of the Invisible Man.
oh yeah, we've never done the Invisible Man, have we? We've done the Mummy.
Oh, I tell you what, we should do one of these days, Ben. Should do the bloody Hollow Man.
Oh yeah, I wonder where you're going with that then. The Hollow Man. Yeah, exactly.
The Hollow Man. There's a bit where a gorilla turns into a Hollow Man in it.
Yeah, talking of coercive and gaslighty and toxic,
He's the worst one.
he's the worst one out of all of them. Yeah, bloody Kevin Baconman.
Yeah.
How dare you? But how did you? How was your watch of the Wolfman?
Yeah. I think I'm with you. Like it's not this. It's of its day a little bit. But tell you what, it's only about an hour and 5 minutes long.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, don't outstay its welcome because you go, "Oh, it's finished now. See you later."
Yeah, straight away, even if like, oh, this is and like he's only really a wolfman for like a day. Turns
He
it
is
turns
he
his
is a wolfman. He is a wolfman in this film for as long as Michael Myers is a killer.
is a Michael Myers in this
Is a
film.
Michael Myers in this? Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes a wolfman and then goes, oh, tell you what, I'm a wolfman. And someone goes, I don't. The guy we're staying with says, I don't reckon you are a wolfman. He goes, well, I'll tell you what, have this. And everyone says, oh no, it's not. It's not your wolfman. People aren't really wolf.
Oh,
And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, if I am a wolfman, bash us in with this stick, would you? And he's like, all right. And then 5 minutes later, he goes, well, couldn't have written it, could you?
couldn't have written it, could you?
He is a wolfman. I'll bash him.
Yeah. Smashes his crust clean in. Okay. That is all I've watched though this week. Is there anything else we need to cover before we
apart from the movie
apart
du
from
jour, Halloween Ends.
the movie du jour, the hottest topic in the horror community right now, and our fingers are firmly on the pulse, ready to discuss the controversial, the shocking, the some would say disappointing, some would say frustrating,
Some would say masterful.
some would say masterful, some would say brave, stunning and brave.
Some would say
Some would say that, and that film is Halloween Ends, which is a 2022 American slasher film directed by David Gordon Green, written by David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, yes, that Danny McBride, and there's loads of other writers here. Can't bother to read them out. Sorry, lads. They do all seem to be male as well. Before you say, I've just assumed that they're all lads. They all look like they're male. It is a sequel to Halloween Kills, the 13th installment in the Halloween franchise, and the final film in the trilogy of sequels that commenced with the 2018 film, which, if you're a listener to bonus content, you'll know that me and Andy rated the 2018 film as our favorite film in the Halloween franchise. Is that right?
It's right. Correct.
That is right. I thought I was just assuming that you'd done that as well. And that film directly follows the 1978 film and disregards all other entries. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Andi Matichak, Rohan Campbell, Will Patton, Kyle Richards, James Jude Courtney as the Shape / Michael Myers. Nick Castle's in it as well. We saw him, didn't we? For a bit. So yeah, this film is weird. That's a good way of putting it to start with, isn't it?
And they warned us of this. I should say, fair play to you. They warned us, said, "Oh, we've gone a complete, gone a completely different direction this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
sure
just read out
did.
the choice reviews and then we can elaborate on them. When I found choice reviews, I found 2 bad ones, 2 good ones to try and, be fair. So it's
Balance.
5.1 on IMDb, 2.4 on Letterboxd, 41% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 57% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I put the note out on Patreon to see if anybody fancied giving us some information on how they found this film. Lane Spencer said, I liked it more than Kills because there was a central character and story arc. I spotted callbacks to Halloween 5, in brackets, Michael hides out in a cave between films. Yeah, good point.
Yep.
And 6, annoying DJ obsessed with Michael gets killed. The writers dropped a big Kills plot point. Michael just wants to stare out of his sister's window.
He just
Good
wants
point.
to look out the window. Come on.
Completely obliterated that. The Myers house is not mentioned at all. The end was satisfying. Okay. And here are some slightly different takes. What in the actual fuck is this movie? This is how you'll end this mid-ass trilogy. This is a fucking prank. You're fucking trolling. 1 star, 24 frames of Nick. Somebody called Silent Dawn feels slightly different. They're giving it 4 stars. Can't quite put this up there with a 2018 reboot, but this romantic vampiric slasher drama is far beyond the senseless motions and rhythms of Halloween Kills. Yeah. Someone called Early says Evil died tonight, along with anything resembling a good story. Effectively, the rise of Skywalker of the Halloween movies, as it's a completely underwhelming end to a decades-old saga. 2 stars. And then finally, Chris Evangelista gives it 4 stars. The most interesting Halloween sequel outside of Season of the Witch ever made. David Gordon Green, you goofball.
Okay.
Now, when me and you had a brief we had a brief exchange after watching this film, one of the things we said first was there is no way this trilogy has been planned out as a trilogy.
No way.
Because
No way.
no way.
You show me someone that says we had a plan for a trilogy. I will show you a fucking liar. No way was that the plan to begin with.
All 3 films are so tonally different. And I feel like if there was a plan for a trilogy, certain characters would have been introduced earlier so that there was more of an impact when certain things started going down. The fact that characters get introduced in this third part of a trilogy and then become so important to the trilogy feels so rushed. It feels unnecessary, and the sort of final act of this particular character is so inconsequential. It had so much potential. It could have gone in so many interesting directions. Now it goes in a direction that is interesting, but I feel like it doesn't. It needs to double down more. I feel if it was going to do a now, obviously we're going to spoil things here, but if it was going to do the evil of the shape passes on to somebody else. Evil lives on. Not evil dies tonight. Evil lives on in some way. Now, imagine it was a character who'd been introduced in 2018, had perhaps gone through a lot in Halloween Kills, survived, moved on, but something wasn't quite right. And then suddenly, when they start having this connection with Michael Myers, and the evil lives on through them, whether it's passed on or, is it again, it's a bit like Smile in terms of like the generational trauma theme and a concept that runs through it. I could have bought it easily, and I think I would have bought it. And in a way, I kind of feel respect for David Gordon Green that this is the way he wanted to go out, because I didn't feel particularly annoyed or angry at this film. I was just curious throughout. I just felt curious as to where it was going to go, what was going to happen next. Whereas with Kills, I was just like, yeah, all right, get on with it. Okay, yeah, well, yeah. We've seen this. Now, get on with it. What's going to happen? What's going to be the big twist? What's going to be the big interesting point, the big talking point that's going to happen in this film? Oh, it just didn't happen in Brutal Kills. Halloween Ends has got brutal kills. However, the iconic Michael Myers is a supporting character who lingers in the background of the film for the most part.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have probably got more out of this film if we'd had a reveal that it was the Michael Myers in your mind all along, and like he was, and someone was mad, and it was an imaginary Michael Myers, and the other one was, you know what? Even if it might feel like a cop out, if he'd been dead in that drain because he's just a man that was in a drain when he had chopped off fingers, dipped in the sewer water for a couple of years, and that'll kill you. Like, like that was a thing. I think the my issue with this, and I'll be very quick to say, I think David Gordon Green is an excellent director. Like we already said, like Halloween 2018, probably my favorite of the series because it was technically really well done, some phenomenal shots, some great use of that character, and it really, really effectively finished that story. It did. Like that could have ended there with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with a little bit of a little bit of a sweetener at the end, like the bit in the fire, has he somehow escaped, or the granddaughter kind of looking at that knife, thinking, "Oh, has she been kind of scarred by this?" That would have been.
I just did a big exhale as if thinking what might have been. 3 generations of Strode family finally putting Michael Myers down.
It was
What
a
could be better than that?
perfect ending, and the reality is then, you know, we heard it when Halloween 2 Kills came out, and it was saying, "Oh, actually, we had an idea for a trilogy." Very kind of you to say, David. Very kind of you to say, indeed. Throw people under the bus. You were forced as a filmmaker, and or what have you, or were given a fantastic offer. Let's be honest, to make more films. And you're a filmmaker, of course, you want to make more films. But you had made such a nicely contained thing, and then it feels like the corporate machinery got you to turn what was maybe one more idea into two. So recapping my frustrations with Halloween Kills, I felt like it wanted to end where it began, with the exception of killing off Karen the daughter. Um, it didn't do anything. It was set the same night, the longest night in the world.
But
And we
in a
saw a lot
way,
of
so
people die. Sorry, carry on.
I just keep thinking. Sorry, I've been thinking about this film more than I think I've thought about any film that we cover on this podcast for a long time. Where I can't get enough of everybody's thoughts and feelings on it, because they're
Yeah,
also different. They're also different. Whereas, like, if a film is like Halloween Kills, most people were pissed off because it was just one note and kind of just didn't really go anywhere interesting. I really didn't like all these characters from the past who saw Michael Myers briefly or cross paths with him have now been affected by it for all these years, and they're all meeting up in this bar, and
and then they
uh,
just thump them all in the last 20 minutes.
just thump them all in the last 20 minutes. No, I didn't particularly like that. One thing I will find quite fascinating is the parallels between this trilogy and the original trilogy, because Halloween is like a very well self-contained story which has a beginning and an end, but like with a question mark. Halloween 2 and Halloween Kills have got a lot of parallels because it's like, okay, we're just stretching the story of the first one further and longer than it ever needs to be. It's like, that film was good, wasn't it? Yeah, but how about that night carries on? And what happens immediately next? Okay, I mean, I guess so.
Yep.
And then of course, Season of the Witch and now Halloween Ends is almost like a complete departure from everything that came before it. Of course, Season of the Witch doesn't have Michael Myers. Halloween Ends has Michael Myers, but obviously, yeah,
Yeah, tangentially so.
he's ever present, but in a very, very different story. So I
I'd
kind
have
of
taken a
respect.
Yeah, I'd have taken a completely different. If you were gonna do that, don't also make it Halloween Ends. Make a side movie,
Yeah, yeah, I think
because
so too.
I felt what we got in this one is absolutely 20 minutes, which is Halloween Ends, So we got 20 minutes, which is Halloween ending, the end of that saga, a final confrontation, which is well executed, well put together, and he gets got. And after that is over, they do the sensible thing and put him into Chekhov's meat, like
Yeah.
metal grinding machine.
Did you see that coming? Because I was a bit like, bet he ends up going in there at the end.
Second I saw that machine, someone's going in that.
The second they kept coming back to it, like
So,
this, the
so
dump.
second we're
Sorry,
showing
the
like
yeah.
metal going in. Yeah, someone's going in that.
Mm.
Yeah. But and we got that, and we got the end of it. The issue is that 20 minutes comes after 2 hours of a completely different movie, which is fine. If you've got an idea for a different movie, make a
Mm.
different movie. My
Almost
problem with
like
it is it's such a
sorry.
departure from the others, and it completely reverses a lot of the things that were set up to be there. So let's look at the characters here. So Laurie Strode had the adventures of Halloween 1 and then spent 40 years preparing for a day that she thought Michael Myers would eventually escape from prison. That day came, and it was at great cost to her family and the choices she could make for her own life. Her marriages hadn't worked out. Her family were kind of at arm's length.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she spent all of her life afraid and preparing for that thing, and then it happened. And then at the course of the end of that evening, your daughter is killed while you're in hospital recovering from your injuries, and the film ends, Halloween Kills ends, with her picking up a knife and heading out of that hospital to face Michael Myers once and for all. um and the daughter has been killed. The granddaughter has joined a vigilante mob to try and get Michael Myers through the course of that movie, and only narrowly escaped with her life. This is all pacing and is building up to a final confrontation. And that's the confrontation we get at the end of this movie. But before we get that, we led to believe that what happened is Laurie marched out of that house and then settled down, let go of all of her anger, really got her mental health in order, and spent 4 years just getting by. Just 4 years getting by,
Mm.
where her granddaughter built up she lived with her grandma, she moved on, she had like a sadness and the I guess the trauma of having lost both of her parents to Michael Myers four
Well,
years ago, but was just desperate to fall in love with someone after one date.
after one day, yeah. What is with this weird sort of plot thread, which is like everyone's kind of annoyed at Laurie for Michael Myers' killing spree?
Oh
Like,
god.
I don't think anybody would know. I don't think anybody would know, let alone blame her. Also, that they say, "Oh, you wound up a mentally ill man, and he went mad killing loads of people." It's like, in what world is that your takeaway from that? Like, no one would do that. Like, everyone would treat her as a victim the same as they would anybody else. No one would be angry at
And
her.
how did she wind him up by failing to be murdered by him in the previous in the
So
first movie?
obviously, she had PTSD and alcoholism in 2018 version. That her luring him there and having like a house full of Home Alone style traps and mannequins and shotguns and all that thing to eventually kill him is like the perfect ending. And then obviously the basement where they light on fire, that's perfect. In the end, he just wanders into a kitchen like with his health low and gets fucked up. It really does feel like all of the pieces were there for this. It didn't need to be a trilogy, no, but like, if it's gonna be, it's gonna be. All the pieces were there, but like they're just all in the wrong order, and that is because this trilogy wasn't planned out. And if it had been planned out, I think, yeah, obviously people being annoyed at Laurie is annoying, but also her granddaughter who's been through so much with her. Her mum's been killed. Her dad's been killed. Her dad was killed in the first one, right?
Dad was killed in the first one, right?
Yeah.
Or a
He's
stepdad.
been killed. And
Yeah.
suddenly she like hates Laurie for some reason, but like she must know and
Not for
understand.
not for most of the film. She's
No.
just pissed off with her for about a 15-minute sequence. Well, I bloody love Corey
Uh,
Corey Byers.
I bloody
Now,
loved it. This bloke that I met like 3 days ago, who seems like kind of strange, standoffish, and definitely keeps saying he's killed people. But I mean, I understand this whole thing, right? When people go through trauma, they are always, and it's clear with a lot of relationships, but they're very easy to fall in love, easy to put their trust in somebody because you've been through that trauma and you just want that connection, you just want that love. You want that understanding. And especially when you connect with someone who you feel like has maybe experienced something similar to you in terms of trauma, maybe not on the same level as, well, I guess on a similar level in terms of in terms of death and accidents and all that stuff. Yes, I understand this story, but the fact that she turns on Laurie the way she does, and then we're supposed to then, when they hold hands towards the end, we're supposed to think they're all right. Actually, yeah, they are there for each other.
yeah,
I don't know.
especially when the person that you very quickly fall in love with is demonstrably turning into a Michael Myers, like really quickly. Like he goes from being all meek and mild. Like there has not been a transformation quite so radical since
No.
like Bruce Banner turned into the Hulk. Because he is like a little meek and mild man who's like, oh, I'm quite nice to bloody kill someone. Let's burn it all down, shall we? By which I mean stab people up pretty much in every word other than doing it.
Yeah. And also, I don't know where you took this away from this, but his relationship with Michael Myers, kind of erotic, especially a particular scene where he's holding a victim and Michael Myers is standing over them, stabbing him, and he's just looking up at Michael. It is kind of erotic. It's definitely a bit of like sexual tension between the two of them. And this is the thing. That is all very interesting. I find that very interesting and unique as well. Interesting and unique because, like, when have we seen that before in a movie like this? I don't think in a Halloween movie, anyway. At least,
Yeah, there's
it,
some
it
interesting stuff. It's too just disjointed to be cohesive. But like, there was some stuff that I enjoyed in this.
yeah. So obviously you mentioned all the characters. We've got Allison, the granddaughter, as well. Corey Cunningham is played by Rohan Campbell. Um, James Jude Courtney obviously is Michael Myers slashed to shape, who's Michael Myers is around about, what would you say, like 15% strength. He's
He's
is he
Yeah, he's right poorly to begin with. He gets a bit
he
better
needs a medipack.
when he's done some murders. He gets a bit of energy from that.
This is the thing. I like that. I like the bit in Halloween Kills where they were like, the more he kills, the stronger he gets. I like that. That's cool. That's interesting. That's scary. That's that supernatural sort of thing about Michael Myers that we've kind of had. But forgets so much. Again, yeah, it forgets the Myers house. Completely forgets that it's in the same town. For God's sake. Um,
You'd move away as well if you're those people that are like, and we'll come to Corey in a bit, but it's like, oh, you ever thought about just moving away? And he goes, oh, I can't. All my memories are. All your memories are shit. All your memories are awful. Like your most significant memories are about the time that your family died and that horrible invincible man came and stabbed you all up. Move.
yeah, just moving it. I think,
But you know
particularly
what?
the fact they
Make
know he's still alive. They know he's still alive.
yeah,
I re-
make some new memories.
I put it to you, if you move, to a different state, I don't reckon he's gonna find you.
No,
I don't reckon he's gonna. I know he's a bit supernatural in that, but um, I don't reckon he's gonna find you. I reckon he's gonna live in that sewer. See, because you could have moved away, he would have stayed in that sewer, thinking I'll come out eventually and kill her again. He would have come out and been like, "Oh shit, they fucked off. They moved."
tell you what, move abroad. Michael Myers ain't got a passport.
And he's not walking through the ocean like at sea level. I mean,
No,
he
yeah,
might do, but that's the
just
it follows.
yeah,
It follows.
have a little move abroad, and you'll be Michael Myers free for all your days. But let's get to it, shall we? So we begin this movie with very very specifically, so not the end of Halloween Kills. A year after that,
Yeah, Halloween night 2019. Yeah, so initially, in terms of my timeline, I was a bit like, right, okay, so when is this? And it took me a few seconds to work it out because this opening scene, you know, you think it's just going to be, oh, there's an opening scene, Michael Myers is going to turn up and kill someone, but it's a whole new story thread with a guy called Corey Cunningham who's babysitting this kid called Jeremy
it's a
while
horrible
his
little boy. It's a bad boy.
horrible little boy, while his parents go out she's dressed as like 1920s kind of, and he's dressed as what, a train driver? I was like, what's going on here? They're going to a party and they're gonna be back in a while. But so yeah, the little boy, they watched a thing together, and he's probably like, hey, he was scary, mate.
Oh yeah, especially like this is another thing that got me. Tell you what, Ben, 3 films on a bounce. Smile, then like last week's what did we watch last week now? It's gone.
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser, and now this one. Minor characters who are unnecessarily horrible, all bad at their jobs. This little boy, I don't like. No actual kids are this rancid. He goes from being
Yeah.
his mom's had a little chat with him when he comes into Corey and said, "Oh, after all those murders, he's been really scared, pisses the bed and everything. This kid, so just don't let him watch any things and just be." And he's in the background, like, tra la la, are you gonna come and play with me and make paper airplanes like my dad, who's the best, makes? And then as soon as he goes, like, fucking hell, mate, he's punching some fucking darts, like, yeah, look at you. I want to watch the thing. And I didn't want to be sitting around with a dog shit babysitter, like, yeah.
He calls him ugly as well. Calls him an ugly, like, shitty old babysitter.
Sorry, this is probably why I'm not. This is probably why I'm not a professional childcare person. I'd have bitten on that if I was Curry sitting there and he goes,
oh yeah,
ugly babysitter. I said, oh, you know what though? Don't piss the bed, do I, mate?
I think it's fair game. I think it's fair game to be alright. I mean, I spent some time with my nephews who were 10 and 7 on Saturday, and
call you ugly, you can say, oh, all right then, all right.
Sometimes they do give me a bit of jip, and you know what? I've got no problem with giving it straight back to them. Just going, oh, you're gonna try and humiliate me, are you? Tell me I stink or whatever. Tell me I've got a bald head. Well, these are all the things I think of you.
I saw your mum looking sad the other day. Said she didn't love you. Oh, sorry. Sorry, you got to find out like this.
Yeah, I should do that. Actually, it's pretty good. Mine's usually just like I was driving at the time, so I was like, I've got an ejector seat built in the back. Actually, it's just here. Oh, I can't quite reach it. It only ejects one seat at random though, in the back, and they're like going, ah!
Or just pull up on the M4. Get out. What?
Get out, mate. Yeah, get out. What?
Get
out. Go on. That's enough of that.
See, I'm releasing you into the world. Yeah. See, you got on. I mean, if I stink so much.
This is all good. This is all good content. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, but this kid kind of does take it too far, doesn't he?
Yeah, but sitting there, like within moments, thinking, I wish someone would knock you off the stairs.
What's annoying is that when he does sort of double down on being a bastard and like locking Corey in the attic, it's like as soon as his parents are coming home.
Yeah, and he does it in a real Michael Myers way, doesn't he? So basically, Corey goes off to think, oh, maybe I'll have one of these sweet low alcohol Heinekens, but he goes, oh, best not. I'll just have a slice of this blancmange or whatever he has.
It looks like it looks like a Jamaica cake, whatever that is, Jamaica ginger cake.
Lovely Jamaican.
It looks like that, and even I was like, oh, I could go for a bit of that. That's good, but also the golden syrup sponge is also good. I would have
been
all over that if I was babysitting. But yeah, ends up with, why does he end up with a knife in his hand? Basically, it's
he basically does in a town where there's been a Michael Myers murder last Halloween. He goes, tell you what, I'll leave the front door open. I'll take a kitchen knife out and leave it on the stairs, and then I'll go up and make spooky help me noises in the loft. And he expects that not to go badly.
There's a couple of occasions in this movie as well where something happens and you go, oh, just, I don't know, put that down or step back, because if anyone walks in onto this scenario, they're immediately going to think that you've done something terrible.
Yeah, they're going to think you're a Michael Myers. But yeah, so he goes up to the loft and goes, hey, stop messing about. The little boy has got the door shut. And he's going, you're afraid of Michael Myers. And he starts freaking out, takes a shoulder to the door just as the mum and dad are walking in. And blooming hell, it comes a bit sharp, this door. It comes open ever so fast. And he yeets him over the banister.
He eats him over the banister. He falls down. He lands in a big, awkward, like legs bent backwards, folded in half.
Oh yeah, if if
Blood.
J- if if JR had been babysitting him and been sat on the sofa, he'd have been, oh my god, he's quite
He's
literally.
broken in half.
He was. A
I
little
mean,
boy is broken in half.
this was effective though. I was like,
I
"Whoa,
guess
holy
I
shit!"
literally said like, oh my.
Yeah,
Take
I did say, "Oh my," but I also said, "What's this got to do with Halloween and Michael Myers and all these things?" I was a bit like, "What's going on?" Um. So yeah, and it pretty much cuts to 3 years later. Obviously, so yeah, the parents witness him dying
Yeah,
in front
they
of them.
come in, they're looking up, and
What have you done?
poor
That's
old,
it. What
poor
have you
old,
done?
poor old Corey is looking as guilty as he can. He's got like a knife in his hand, and he's standing watching how
What would you do? What would you do? He jumped. What could you do? I don't know what you could do.
maybe fall off the banister after him. Like, I'll save
Yeah,
it. Oh no!
nothing to lose. You'd have to make that decision immediately, though, wouldn't you?
Or
Um,
shout down. It's bloody Michael Myers. Get out of it.
yeah, yeah. He was behind me. Put or stab yourself, not anywhere bad, in the leg or something, and say he stabbed me, and I pushed him back, and yeah.
Leave it out, Michael. Oh, I'll tell you what. It's lucky you not got us both down there.
So 3 years later, in Haddonfield, Illinois.
Climb out of the front window, go downstairs, come in from the front door. Oh boy, oh boy. We're
Little
playing
boy
we're playing hide and seek actually.
will come back and go, I'm back. Don't tell your parents. Oh no, what's happened here then? But they heard a kerfuffle, didn't they? They heard like some shouting stuff from upstairs, so that wouldn't work. Um, so 3 years later, still in Haddonfield, Illinois, um, Laurie Strode has got her own crib, got her own place now. She's living with her granddaughter. She's bought the new house.
Yeah, she's
Um,
basically walked back. Classic, maybe she should be our prime minister. She's U-turned on that revenge that she was
classic
going to have.
U-turn.
Done a classic
But
U-turn.
it's weird because I almost feel like if she thought Michael was dead, then I can completely understand this U-turn. But she still thinks he's alive. How could you possibly, like, at what point in those 4 years did she finally relax and, like, I don't know, not have a shotgun ready to go at any time?
Feels like the next day. It feels like she's like writing a book, and she's
Yeah,
like
that's right.
doing some minor edits. She's like, we must decide if we let if we let him in. And he goes, oh no, not him. If we let it in, obviously
No,
respected Michael's pronouns there. And then
she didn't even like that.
oh no, actually, third draft, let evil in.
This bit reminded me of when Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City does a little voiceover at the end of the episode,
Yeah.
basically summing up the whole episode of what the story was and what the lesson to be learned and what's the takeaway. It felt like she was doing that.
The moral of the story is snitches get stitches. No, I mean stitches.
I had a moment. I had a moment right where I thought we were living in her book, like what she was
Oh,
writing. Like, imagine it was all of it was a piece of fiction. This is what she was writing, and then suddenly at the end we got pulled out of it and like no, Michael Myers is here. Everything that came before, which was completely unrelated to Michael Myers, was her somehow trying to move on from that
just
by giving evil a different face somehow.
oh man, I'd
Um,
love a Halloween anthology movie, which is just Laurie Strode's Michael Myers fan fiction.
oh yeah, but this was the
One of
thing,
them
like
where
when
it turns out he's my brother all along. Now he isn't. Now there's a little
oh
girl,
yeah,
and now there's
as a
this
little girl.
voodoo cult called the Thorn, and
This is crazy, Laurie. This is insane. No one's going to read this. But obviously, when John Carpenter first made Halloween, I think he did. Initially, there wasn't the intention for it to be a anthology, wasn't there? The
where
shape.
Season the Witch comes from.
Yeah.
And for
So
anyone who listened to our Night of the Creeps episode, or hasn't listened to it yet, go back and listen to our guest, Video Store Kev, listen to his theory for what he would have loved to have seen from Halloween Ends. And I think this is probably because of that one of my
yeah,
major problems with the version we got, because that was so good. If you're a Hollywood producer, get Kevin.
yeah, get Kev involved for God's sake. For the good of your franchise. Oh, franchise is over now, isn't it? Where can they possibly go next? Um. So yeah, and then so we're introduced to everybody like that. Allison's working in like the hospital. What is she like?
In
Just a nurse or something?
I've never claimed to understand the American healthcare system, Ben, but I feel like that isn't how it works. I feel like you qualify as a nurse or healthcare practitioner. You don't just get like a she works there, and then there's the friend that is quite annoying and flirts with the doctor, the worst doctor in the world. Doctor is like, you might as well wear a badge that says, "Please get me struck off." Um, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and it feels like it's an approach to nursing, which is a bit like if you have a Saturday job at the shop and like, oh, you came in on your day off, that means you're in line for the promotion. I'm not sure it works like that. I think nursing and similar medical jobs require to take qualifications, and it's a banded role.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, that's not how it's going. She's
no. And then we were introduced again to Corey from the opening sequence, and he's now working at his stepdad's salvage yard. He's late. He arrives late on his little bike.
even though it's his stepdad's salvage yard, and he didn't give him a lift.
Yeah. Because I think the stepdad kind of like stays there some nights, because there's a bit later where he's like watching a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I can't remember which one it is. But like at night, purely to escape his absolutely, I don't think there's a nicer way of saying this, batshit crazy wife, Corey's mum. Toxic, incredibly toxic,
Yeah,
terrifying.
he just, oh, I'm going to stay and watch my Jean-Claude Van Damme movies rather than going
I
home.
reckon he
to
stays
boxing
there.
club.
I reckon he stays there at night. But yeah, he gives him a nice gift. He says, Corey, here's this little motorbike that needs a bit of work. You're good at all this stuff, but you can have it if it means you get to work on time. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Dad, and this is when we get our first shot of Chekhov's metal smashing machine.
Yeah, like grindy machine.
Yeah, there's a
And
big. We get a lovely lengthy shot of, look at all this metal going in here and getting all scrunched up. Want to fall in there, would you?
you would not want to fall in there.
Certainly,
Not
I
at all.
certainly hope no one goes in there before this film is over.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then like on the way home, Corey is like just in his local Esso garage.
yeah,
And the weird, like this is weird. This is weird, right? Because as generations, as we go through different generations of high school kids, bullies become more and more, like, to us, completely like foreign, where we're just like, oh, what? I'd knock him straight out. Who's this guy? I'd absolutely kick his ass. Like, they're not, it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. It's almost like this set of bullies, there's like a jock, you would say, like an alternative looking guy who may be like a band geek because he's carrying like drumsticks constantly, and then two girls who seem like, one of them seems like kind of nice, the other one seems and not comfortable with like being a bully, and the other one is like, I guess kind of the same. But it's the weirdest like team
weirdest
of
like
bullies.
weirdest like combination. Like, how would you like ever be friends? And also, if you're again, not a professional bully, never really picked it up, but I'm not sure as a bully you would do some bullying of an adult who the community widely thinks of as a murderer.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the person that you wouldn't really associate with. Should we go and
initially,
antagonize that murderer? Nah.
I don't know. I didn't buy the antagonizing really at all. Like after this first confrontation, you could understand why they perhaps would cross paths with him a few more times and kind of be pissed off with him. But this first confrontation seems unnecessary. Also, Corey loves chocolate milk because in the first scene, he gets a big old bottle of chocolate milk to go with his Jamaica ginger cake.
Mm-hmm.
And in this scene, he buys a glass bottle of chocolate milk. And the person working there is like, "Are you going to buy anything or what?" I would literally just be like, "I'm going to buy fucking everything now. Fuck you."
No, I wouldn't buy nothing. You're going to buy anything?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Nothing. Yeah, actually.
Oh, no, I've actually just knocked all this stuff over. It's not broken. Yeah. Oh, all these postcards. I'm just like, oh, shit. So I've knocked them all over. Oh, no. Clumsy.
That would be annoying.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to buy this bag of flour. Oh,
oh, antiqued.
I've spilt all this flour everywhere. You get antiqued. Yeah, I spilled all this flour. I'll give you the 30p that this bag of flour costs, but I have but I have spilt it everywhere, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sorry. And it's a wholemeal flour as well. It's gonna be incredibly difficult to clean up.
Oh, I'll tell you, I am gonna pay for it with this bag of pennies.
Yeah, but I'm gonna lob every penny at your head.
Yeah. And then as he's counting them, 63, 19,
Oh,
200, just flicking him, blowing on him.
blow it
Yeah,
on him.
I'm telling you, if I'm in a shop and you ever give me, you're going to buy something, I'm going to waste so much of your fucking time.
Yeah,
You're going to wish you'd never opened your mouth.
all of the time, every single moment of your time.
You're talking to a man who really wanted some crumpets one day. Then really wanted some crumpets, but can't really buy Warburton's ones because they give loads of money to the Tory party. So I
Oh,
really wanted some crumpets. So I thought, how can I get some crumpets that are the adequate size, making sure they don't make any profit? And the solution to that was to send a time-wasting email to their customer services department
I love it.
asking theoretically what the biggest crumpet they could make was. Um, got a perfectly charming response. I did say that me and my boys love one of their crumpets of a morning. They didn't know their dogs. I haven't got any kids. Uh, they replied. They said,
You know, lads.
could you theoretically make a crumpet as big as a trampoline in like a Jamie Oliver style food based stuff? Apparently, it's limited by the size of ovens they have.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
That's a good point.
no poor reflection on all the fine people that work at Warburton's. It's your rich bosses that give money to bad people. But yeah, I wasted that money. And then when I went down the shops, there were some just Tesco's ones anyway. So net loss.
Net loss. When you were saying I didn't want to give him profit, but I wanted a crumpet, I thought you were going to tell us you've been shoplifting.
No, I wouldn't commit a crime. I'd waste someone's time though, and that's what I'd have done to that man at that garage.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He just buys his chocolate milk, which doesn't even get to enjoy because of bullies.
Yeah. So I don't know why they sort of. Oh yeah. So they want him to buy booze for them, and obviously we can understand why
Sorry.
Corey says no, because he's obviously like, I've had enough shit, killed a kid. I don't want to really commit any. I mean, I know it's a minor grievance, minor crime. I don't really want to buy alcohol for minors because I could get in trouble. So no, I don't really want to. And rather than
taken their money and then gone in and then got them something else.
chocolate milk.
Yeah,
because they do say, "I want a 6-pack, please." A what? Toilet roll? Well, only comes in 4. Sorry.
Just get a big, just get something completely inappropriate. Got you a 6-pack of bleach, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. So yeah, rather than taking no for an answer, they kind of are dicks. Knock the chocolate milk out of his hands, push him over. Oh no, they didn't knock the chocolate milk out of his hand. They push him over, and then he squeezes the chocolate milk so hard it smashes, and a big old chunk of glass goes in his hand. Yeah. So we can see already he's got some rage bubbling underneath. And then of course, yeah, they say, "You're that kid. You're that guy who killed the kid." Whatever. But then Laurie is filling up her car nearby with some unleaded, and she shouts, "Hey, you nosy little pervert!"
Yeah. Tells him to get out of there before she slaps him silly.
Yeah.
And then again, they're like, these kids, their theming is like the only other parallels I can think of. They're like the weasels from Roger Rabbit. And they're like, the kids are like, oh, I see. It's the murderer and the freak show. There's what? That woman who freakishly survived a murderer.
It's so strange that everyone kind of thinks it's just odd. It's not how people like react. People don't like, you're most likely to just avoid someone. It's very unlikely that you would ever, like, I don't know, give them some weird nickname based on the fact that they were nearly killed. You're the freak show. What? Because I nearly got killed? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. There's that big giant man that I spent 40 years. What thing I'm going to do to you? And then after they've gone, they go into the shop to buy. Don't know because no one's going to get served for them, but they have to buy some Twizzlers or whatever, couple of scratch cards. So they nip in to do that, and Laurie whips out the old switchblade and goes, "Do you want to burst their tires, or shall I?"
Oh yeah, I like that though. I thought, yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'd like to do that. Don't know if I'd go through with it, but you definitely want to, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Especially because he's a rotten bully.
Rotten bastards. And then, well, when that happened, I was like, okay, well, that's not the last we're going to see of these kids. You know, they're going to pop up again soon or at some point because he's got some revenge on him. But yeah, then she takes him to the hospital slash. Well, it says here just the doctors. Takes him to the doctor's office where Allison works. And then it's weird because Laurie does kind of make out that, oh yeah, I brought him here because I knew you'd be interested in him. But I'm like, so what would you have done if you weren't trying to set him up with your granddaughter? Just left him with a bit of glass in his hand? Ah.
Well, I'll tell you what. He pushed a little kiddie down the stairs. You pushed Michael Myers down those stairs, didn't you? In that house, you got that in common.
You got
Both
that in
pushed.
common, yeah, both of them.
You both pushed someone who you believe is Michael Myers down some stairs.
But in this initial early stage, I did kind of like this thing because I thought this is what I was thinking at this stage. Okay, Corey's seen some shit. Laurie's seen some shit. Names are kind of similar.
Laurie and Corey.
Laurie and Corey. They've both seen some shit. They've both been through some crap. And what I
He'll
was
marry
thinking
into the
is that
family and take their name. He'll be Corey Strode.
Corey Strode, yeah. I thought he was just going to be introduced as someone who, like, he would overcome this shadow of grief and guilt that he had on his back, shadow looming over him, monkey on his back. He would overcome this, and the way he would overcome it is by bonding with Laurie about their shared trauma, and they would eventually like join forces and take down Michael in some way. That's where I thought he was going at this point. But yeah, he's getting stitched up, and then like the most over the top reaction ever when Allison walks in, he like knocks everything over. It couldn't be any worse.
Yeah.
Knocks everything over, and the doctor's like, for fuck's sake. This is Dr. Wrongen as well.
Yeah, Dr. Red Flags again. Dr. Red Flags walks in, said, oh, it's like, right, I'll leave you to it then, eh? I've done my bit. So she sits him up and she goes, oh, do you want to come come around at Halloween party? And he goes, nah. Let's go on.
Come to Allie, yeah. So she pretty much asks him out, and doesn't he? At this point, she knows what he's done, or maybe does he?
I think everyone knows.
Everybody knows. Do you want to come to a Halloween party? Yeah, but the only thing I've got is a jumper, right? And just some shitty old plastic mask. One of those ones you get when you're a kid that where like the elastic kind of always breaks, snaps on your head and hurts. Ah, and then, or like the very edges of the plastic like scratch your face, start splitting. It's not good. It's definitely not a good One thing we can learn from this is that the Michael Myers mask was built to last.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That rubber hasn't perished.
Whereas this plasticky weird scarecrow mask ain't gonna last a night. Okay, in any way.
She talks about that costume. She has got classic Halloween fare here. She's going as a sexy cat. Her friend, the other healthcare assistant, is going as sexy devil. Is she going as sexy devil?
Yeah, I think so. Sexy devil, classic. So at this Halloween party, there's like a photo booth when they have that's always fun. That's always nice. Some of the most bizarre dancing slash interpretive dance I've ever seen, where he's kind of acting like possessed on the floor, and she's like, I don't know, exercising him.
Yeah,
I feel like for a first date,
she's little fish, big fishing him over the top. Yeah. As soon as he walks in, the sexy devil lady is also going like, "Yeah, I'll do some dancing with you." Like they've accepted him into this, and he's really comfortable with them straight away. She goes to get him some drinks. He's having a gale time at this party. And then he just nips up to get another beer, and then who's this at the bar? Lady Buzz Killington.
Lady Buzz Killington. I mean, to be fair, if you're out and about, especially on a first date or enjoying yourself or having a few jars and getting your dance on, the last person you want to bump into is the mummer, the mummer,
yeah,
the mother of the boy you accidentally killed,
drop kicked over a banister. Yeah, to be honest, people think they've had it hard bumping into their ex on a night out or a date. My goodness, the mother of the boy you punted.
Do you know what I noticed as well? She had the same sort of hair. So in the opening scene, she was like a 1920s is rah girl. The kind of, is that the correct term?
Flapper girl,
flapper. That's exactly it. with like sort of wavy short hair. Her hair was still the same. So either her hair has remained that way and she hasn't washed it or restyled it since that event 3 years ago, or the filmmakers who made Halloween Ends were like, you got to be in another scene, got to be in a Halloween party scene next as well. So take all this stuff off. Have we got time to redo my hair? Nah, get in there.
I feel like she has pretty much the same outfit on. Maybe she's not been able to bring herself.
I think she's got like a hoodie on. So they're almost trying to say, listen, you may be depressed enough you may be so depressed that you don't change your hair and you don't really want to get dressed up anymore, but you're not depressed enough that you're not going to go to some young kids, some sort of mid-20s
Halloween party.
Halloween party.
Is it the same bar that they had open mic night at the it's like the community said this is like Biker Grove, the Haddonfield.
I was thinking that, I was like, is this the same place as that? And yeah, kind of weird. So it kicks off with her. And it's a classic. What is the other character's name? The lady who's friends with Laurie Strode, the one who looks like Demi Moore but isn't Demi Moore.
Just the bar manager, right?
So it's Lindsay Wallace. So she's one of the children that Laurie babysat in 1978.
That's
and again, she survived again in Halloween Kills, but she is given such a minor role in this film. It's almost like it tries to suggest that anyone who's crossed paths with Michael Myers is affected in one way, but in this one they just go, she's all right, actually, she's over in the bar, she's fine, she's chilling.
We should go out to see if she can make evil die, so she's all right.
She's absolutely fine, yeah.
So she has a go at him, says, "Oh, having a lovely thrash about on the floor, are you? My son used to love thrashing about on the floor." What was that? Lying lifelessly in a puddle of liquid, are you? All right. My son used to like doing that.
Bent backwards, are you, with your legs behind your head? My son used to love doing that.
That's how I remember him. Thanks to you, actually.
He died doing what he loved.
Yeah. All right, plummeting through the air, are you?
He used to love doing that. What was he, like a diver? So was he like deep sea diver? No, he died.
Yeah. So she has a go at him, and obviously he's a bit upset. So he tears out of the party. Laurie's granddaughter goes after him, says, "What you said?" He has like a right old suck. He like goes, "Where were you? Where were you?"
Right.
You went to the bar and I was just over here.
Okay. Right. This is what I don't get. A, they're falling in love with each other so quickly. B, they're having like a major domestic already. I feel like this is a red flag when you're in any sort of relationship or dating or anything like that. If someone starts having a go at you or shout at you, no matter what the situation is, no matter who it is, if they feel like they can shout at you like on your first date, I'm gonna say, no, there's no second date, unfortunately. No matter how much I find this person attractive, no matter how much I've got in common with this person, I think this person's nice. If they shout at you on the first date, that is if it's not going to be good going forward.
That's game over, unless, of course, something really important, like if they get bumped off a bridge in a bit, and then maybe you'll forgive them.
Even then, I think there's a lot of domestics in this. It gets very intense between these two very quickly, almost like something like almost like True Romance, or like, I don't know, something where perhaps the characters are younger than they are in this. The fact that they're so willing to just put themselves out there,
they just really go for it immediately, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't happen just yet. First things first. So, Allison and Corey part ways. He storms off into the night. "You're no longer my fellow DJ," and he like goes away.
Yeah,
he storms off into the night, only to run into, you'll never guess who.
It's bloody what can we call these guys? This ragtag group of completely different guys.
it's like the fucking Bash Street Kids. So they're gonna run into these orange bullies, and they do some of the classic. Corey always seems to be almost getting run over all the time. Like every time he steps out into the road. Now, is that indicating that he's careless, or is it indicating that everyone hates him so much that no one brakes when he's crossing the road?
Maybe both. He's also like on the verge of tears at all times, and too easily pushed over. I feel like even if you don't expect it, if someone pushes you, like he's always on his ass, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
No matter what happens.
he's not a very tall man. He should have a lower center of gravity, like Wolverine.
He's not a
Um,
tall man, which is why, again, not jumping into this, but the fact that he is smaller as well made me. I thought if he was a bigger bloke, we could kind of understand this sort of transition that happens. But yeah,
um, so he's walking along the along the overpass or whatever.
yeah.
Um, he's walking along the overpass, and these bullies turn up. Did we see them? Because I think again
Oh yeah, we
the
saw him at the.
perils of a new movie, right? We didn't make notes. We were at cinema, so
So
it was.
he was at the place getting his tires fixed or getting new tires.
And his dad was there
At
going, "Look at him, bloody useless
the,
unit."
so his
Fucking
dad
this
was
article.
slapped her across the back of the head and said like, "Oh bloody hell, stupid twat." So already we understand. Oh yeah, so he's abusive as because he's abusive to other people because his dad's abusive. Again,
Yeah,
bit of a
he's got a Rob Zombie dad. Not that Rob
he's got
Zombie's an abuser, but dads in his movies are.
yeah. So it's a bit of a cliche, you know, but at the same time, despite it being a cliche, it's understandable for how often we get this character. Um,
So when the bullies are giving him some grief, he goes, "Hey, I know your dad thinks you're a twat." And he goes, "Done."
he bloody done.
Doesn't
He
he? But
does.
dad thinks, "Hey, so there's a text from him. Says love you." Doesn't there? Does it?
Doesn't no.
Um.
Uh,
So they get into a fight. Corey tries to defend himself. He whips his knife out, and someone slaps it over the edge.
what's with the
And
so ready to like pull out a knife? Again, I feel like this is just. I mean, I know there are some assholes and then gang violence in various parts of this country as well as like the US. But I don't know, pulling a knife out feels so like, hey, I carve you up, Sonny Jim.
yeah,
It feels like sort of like mobster. Feels like Italian mobster, especially in this film with the character. Maybe what I'm saying is with the characters involved, it feels a bit unnecessary. It feels like someone will pull a knife out and the other guys would go, "What the fuck are you doing? Pulling a knife out? What's wrong with you?"
what would you do in that situation with those horrible bullies, Ben?
I don't know, really. I mean, you just be like, "I'm not taking any of you seriously, no matter what you say. You're like just you're wearing a varsity jacket. Who on earth do you think you are?" This other guy's got like a mullet, like the Gen Z mullet, and he's got drumsticks. Oh, can play a little ditty, can you? Can play a little a paradiddle? Come play a paradiddle on
I
me
mean,
head. Why don't you?
drum kit's not a pop thing. What are you, the fucking Blue Man Group, mate? You play it
Yeah.
on some overturned bins, are you?
Yeah. Not particularly threatening, but at the same time, they do waz Corey
They
over the
do
side
do
of
what they
the
give him a taste of his bloody own medicine, don't they? Wang him off the end or something.
yeah. A lot of people
Um,
fall into and also it was established a little bit earlier that there was a homeless man living under this sort of like overpass thing.
yeah.
Did you notice immediately when he landed that we could see Michael Myers in the background?
Oh, I didn't notice him.
Yeah, it's like he's just on the very edge of the shot. So it kind of pans up from Corey on the ground and focuses on the homeless man, but just on the right hand side of the shot. I'll need to rewatch this to confirm. But he was just standing there having a look, and he kind of like I think the shot just moved, so he didn't walk out of shot. It just kind of moved.
I didn't see
Um,
him properly, so I'll have to go back and see that next time.
Yeah. And
Um,
then Corey basically gets dragged off into the sewers by what we can't see what it is, but I was thinking, is it a Pennywise? Is it a Ninja Turtle?
oh,
Is it
imagine that if you his entire life could have gone a completely different way if it had been Master Splinter. You know,
oh
right?
yeah.
I'm going to teach you the ways.
Teach you the ways of the yeah, we're gonna teach you all the kung fu, not
If
kung
he'd
fu,
befriended the
karate.
turtles, if he'd befriended the turtles, there was four bullies and four of them. They could
Oh
have.
yeah. Fucked him up.
Yeah. But
That's
he
what you'd
doesn't.
want. In a way, you'd almost want a Pennywise as well. Just because he only likes does he only like kids? Oh no, I suppose he does like the adults,
Yeah, you
I
kill
believe.
adults, but if you believe in yourself enough, you can beat shit out of him.
Oh yeah, that's how it works. Um,
if actually Pennywise probably weak against bullies if they'd said hurtful things to him.
that's true. That is true. Um, so he wakes up in the sewers. and he's like, Jesus Christ, where am I? And as he's walking, and Michael, for some reason, rather than confront him directly, like confronts him through a wall. He's like waiting. He's like, I hope he walks past this part in the wall because I'm gonna reach out and grab him. I'm gonna reach out and grab him.
He was singing that to himself. He's got an original. He's got an original.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Reaches out and grabs him. And again, this is interesting because what we see in this moment is you think, okay, Corey's dead now. All of this is for nothing, just to build up to Michael Myers getting his strength back and coming back and going for Laurie Strode. But no, we get like a little flash of like Corey's life, or at least Corey's life in the last 4 years. Michael senses, and here it says senses the same darkness in him and lets him go. I wasn't sure if it was a sense or whether he was passing something over to him, giving him the Michael Myers STD via.
You got like a Ghost Rider like penance there, but in reverse.
Yeah.
Where actually, the more bad things you've done, more I think you're all right. Actually,
you've done a lot of bad shit, haven't you? Well, you've only killed one person. Actually, those are shit numbers, but it was a kid, so in a way,
counts as 10.
Counts as 10. I respect you more. Lets him go. Again, this felt a bit forced. As soon as Corey leaves, the homeless dude like grabs him and says, "What does he say? He's been eating them down there." I don't know.
He just does like crazy things, and then it's like, and then he goes, "Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm Michael Myers. Let's roll about on the floor over this knife." And it does, the Simpsons music when like Bart and Milhouse have a fight. It's like, did it?
Yeah.
It's like that. They wrestle for a second.
There's a lot of rolling around wrestling in this, or like, what do you know when you see like two people fighting and they're either equally strong, probably, or equally weak, maybe, where they're like, huh! There's a lot of that going on, and it seems to be Corey, who's just been overpowered by some pissant bullies, is now being overpowered by like an old man. But he gets the better of him and stabs him.
And in rolling about, he gets a knife in his tongue, and he goes, "Oh, my life was pretty low anyway.
I've just killed a bloody homeless man. Bloody hell!"
And he's gone, oh.
And he's like, "Oh, I've got a bloody taste for it now."
Yeah, it's like Pringles.
Once you pop, you can't stop. Killed a kid, yeah. Well, I didn't kill anyone else for 4 years. Have this homeless man. Oh yeah, I've got the taste for
actually.
it. Then they go.
I didn't really taste that one properly. But now I've done one.
Corey and Allison go on a second date in like just some shitty old overcrowded diner.
He pops round to see her and goes, "Oh, I killed someone," and like, think, "Oh, is he telling her?" He's just mentioned about the kid that he booted off the banister.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course.
So I killed someone once. She goes, "Oh, okay, I get why you ran off." Actually,
do you mean you killed someone, as in the one I know about? What? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he just carries on. Yeah, that one is the one I want to talk about. Actually,
again, like your frustration with a film earlier. If people just communicated properly, then we would know. Do you know what I mean? People would understand.
And Laurie, despite being really into it, she goes off and does an investigation of her own from this point. So we'll come to the date just now, but Laurie goes to the bar where the girl she used to babysit now works, and it's the dad, right? It's the little boy's dad.
Yeah, it's a little boy's dad. Yeah, that's right.
Little boy's dad is there and goes, "Oh, actually, kid is annoying. Actually, I thought he had it coming." He doesn't say that. He says like, "No way did he kill him. He was a good boy, actually." But then I saw him the other day. I saw him after this, and I guess we haven't. I think the idea behind this whole Corey story is that it's meant to be the demonization of the town, and maybe it's a little bit of like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy that everyone thinks he's bad, and it kind of drives him to that life. I get it. I understood this movie, Ben, is what I'm trying to tell you. I understand that. Don't come at me in the tweets, but like that's what they're going for. It's like the trauma of the town. It's kind of turned into what it was, and it sort of says the dad says, I thought he was right, but I tried to pull up in the car and talk to him sometime, and I saw his eyes.
Yeah.
They're not his eyes down, and they're like a dolly's eyes.
You got someone else's eyes. Well, you could give them back then. Yeah, there is an interesting theme here where they
Soulless
show.
eyes like Cheryl Cole.
There's an interesting bit where they show like, oh, the struggles of the community. Like Haddonfield is obviously experiencing from this tragedy. Tragedy continues. Like there's someone who's hung themselves, which for some reason, like Laurie and the granddaughter, like, see what's that? Someone's hung themselves over there. Yeah, and there's obviously more a spate of like other deaths or tragedies or other things that
It's like
like.
you see some billboards of missing people, right?
Yeah, that's right. And again, we're not expressively told that this is Michael Myers who's been having these people off, taking them into the sewer, but we're made to think maybe he has. But at the same time, he is really weak, and I think we're supposed to think that with each kill he grows stronger, almost like um he's being given a ration pack in Metal Gear Solid
Yeah.
to
But
get them.
he's yeah, but he's knocking on a bit. He's knocking on a bit, and he's been right poorly. He's all fucked up, so
He's
he
all
can't
fucked up.
can't do it. Can't do it on his own. So that's
And he never takes that bloody mask off. Just give yourself a little bit of breathing space, please. For
I
God's
mean,
sake.
I guess it shows that the little boy and the little boy and the banister incident happened in 2019.
Yeah.
It's probably been isolating because he's been locked up for the COVID years.
Oh yeah,
No.
of course. He's been locked up for the COVID. He was just basically the reason he's down there is because he's terrified, absolutely terrified of COVID, despite the fact that he wears a mask all the time. He's terrified.
He's
What
like,
could possibly
actually, it
happen?
does say, "Stay home, save lives."
Stay
He has
home, even if your home's in a sewer. Stay home, save lives.
hands,
So
face,
when
space, the Michael Myers way.
is it?
Um,
When is now when they go on their second date? Or
yeah,
no, they go to that. They go to the house as well, don't they?
they do go to the house and they chat about it and said, "Oh, this is where he tumbled off." And
Horrible blood stain still there. I mean, that wouldn't happen, would it? Bloodstain would be gone.
no,
Also, what happened, like in terms of real estate and the way homeowners, like, why would that house now just be abandoned? I can
yeah,
understand why
those
when
twins that have been on there, the house flippers that have
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
We want the twins, the house flippers. Me and Charlie were watching it once, and she went, "Are they related?" I went, "They're literally identical twins. What on earth are you talking about? Are they related?" Yeah, that's right.
Just good
And now that
mates.
Mary Kate and Ashley, they're just good mates as well. Yeah, well, they look similar. Nah, not sure about
Similar
that.
look. Um,
Yeah, so they go there and then they go on a date to like some horrible, overcrowded diner. And now the police officer, Doug Mullaney, Allison's ex, what? He is 20 years older than her.
yeah.
What's happening?
When did they go out?
Yeah, when did they go out?
Was a
Like,
boyfriend at the end of the I know there's been 4 years. You can see other people, but a boyfriend
yeah.
at the end of the last one had his head smashed off by Michael Myers on the banisters.
At what point did she go, I'm going to date someone, not only a police officer, but someone who looks like 20 years older than me? Is he supposed to be the same age? I don't
I
really
mean,
get it.
are they even necessarily dating? He's like pulling up and like saying, "Oh, so if they had like an unsuccessful first date or something like that, and he's after another one."
Yeah, it seems like that, doesn't it? Or like the kind of guy who was maybe like gone on a date with her and she's kind of cooled off on it, but he's still like there. He still thinks that maybe there's a chance.
Yeah,
Or
or they like went to something with other people that like wasn't a date. Like, oh, we were both
oh no,
we bumped into each other and chatted at the
yeah. You see,
supermarket one day, a bit like Laurie does with her little date.
oh yeah,
In a bit.
that dude. I think that maybe it has already happened as well. So she meets up with the Deputy Frank Hawkins, isn't it? Who
Yeah,
obviously he got hurt by Michael as well. They ended up in hospital together pretty much for the whole of Halloween Kills.
he's doing right. He's bought himself a guitar.
He's bought himself a guitar and he's been shredding away on that. And him and Laurie have got a little bit of a spark going
Yeah,
on.
and he wants
You
to
know,
go and learn about what was it? He wants to go and see.
he's learning Japanese.
That's right, and they're going to go and
Pulls a
look
bit
at
of
the
that
cherry.
out.
Going to look at the cherry blossoms, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
Tell you
cherry
where
blossoms.
Michael Myers couldn't get you, Japan.
He ain't coming to Japan. No, I don't even reckon he understands the concept of Japan. If you explained to him what Japan was, he would tilt his head and kill you. But in that moment, he would not understand what the concept of Japan was. So yeah, the police officer again is like comes over talking to them, and he's like ignoring Corey essentially. And this is a dick move, you know. You could see that they're there together.
Do you want to
You'd
come
look-
for it's old Billy Bob's birthday? Do you want to come over? And she's nah, I'm actually with someone.
Actually with someone, but I didn't think from this exchange that it would turn into what it did, because I was a bit like, even if you had an awkward exchange where he squared up to you and kind of told you to back off, would you then wait for him to leave and follow him? I mean, I don't know. Even if
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a police officer, so what is he probably trying to do? Like get some dirt on him or try and frame him for something? I don't know. Doesn't need to frame him for anything because he is out there.
Murderer, yeah. But yeah, after this little exchange, this is where they've had a little chat and go, oh, I'll tell you what, sick of this. I want to burn it all down. He goes, yeah, you should. And he goes, right, now to assume the policeman's going to follow me, set him a little trap.
Yeah. So he's like luring victims for Michael to somehow like their help Michael become. And he says, "Show me" as well, doesn't he? I know we'll get to that, but
Yeah, so the guy turns up. He tricks him into the little sewers, and then Michael Myers is there to help him fight him. He's like, "Go on, show us how to do it, then."
but again, it's just he's still now he's maybe on like 20% strength. Still bloody struggling with
Yeah.
everything. To be
So
fair,
Corey
he needs help. They double team him.
Corey helps him. He gets in some of the first little injuries, and then Michael Myers puts his iPod Classic on. It's like, "This is how we do it," and then he
Yeah.
starts shanking him up.
Shanking him while Corey holds him. And as I said before, there is something quite erotic, quite sexual, like about the way he's like gazing up at him,
Looking
holding
into
him,
Michael's eyes while Michael's
into Michael's
thrusting away at that man.
thrusting a big hard piece of shiny metal into that man. He said, and he does say like, "Show me how to do it" or whatever. So it's almost like this this event is doing two things. It's bringing Michael's killer instinct back, and it's also like awakening that killer instinct in Corey, I guess.
Restoring a bit of Michael's health as well. And
Oh
then
yeah.
we go on a bit of a. Now, what order is this banana? I think we have one more little date scene where they're absolutely in love now. Where
Well, this is the bit where there's a cut after this happens, and Michael and Corey have just committed a double team murder. There's an immediate cut to Allison on the back of Corey's motorbike, and for a second I was like, "It's Michael on the back of the motorbike," in like a true romance slash drive sort of romantic moment. Oh, he's a wrong un, but I love him anyway.
Got the Top Gun music on.
Yeah. But you know what? If that happened, I would have laughed, but I think I would have loved it. Do you know what I mean? I would have
Michael
been like,
Myers on your motorbike.
this is absolutely ridiculous, but at the same time, I respect it. You know, I mean, it's some mad shit that's happening, and confusing shit where you're like, where is it going with this? But I'm still curious. I'm not to say I'm thinking it's a good film at this point. I'm not to say it's changing my life and I'm thinking this is the best Halloween movie ever, but I'm still curious, and I wasn't curious watching Halloween Kills.
Yeah,
I was,
that's true.
as I said, I was frustrated. I was like, get on with it, get on with it. Whereas this, I was like, it's getting on with it, but I don't know what it's getting on with.
Yeah.
Um,
So they go and sit on the roof of the radio station and they say, "Oh, Core, sick of this town, right? Let's just go, shall we?" And he goes, "Oh, but I'm invincible now." And he jumps off the roof. He's being very strange. He jumps
Yeah.
off the roof, and the man from the radio station comes out and goes, "What are you doing?"
man from the radio station is like unnecessarily rude as well, like calling people. I don't know, anyone who's been through some shit. Everyone's a freak.
He's a rude man though. He's quite you hear him quite a few times. He's rude on the radio too.
Yeah.
He's always saying rude stuff.
He's one of those personalities who go, listen, I just tell it how it is, all right? And if you don't like it, it's like, all right, well, I think you're just being a twat. I don't think you're telling it how it is. You're just telling us how you think it is.
How it is the twat. Yeah. So he's a bit rude to him, sends him packing. Laurie's watching from the car, going, ain't so sure about this.
That's weird. How has she like got involved in that as well?
Yeah, she's gone from this being her idea to being sus about it. I think at this point, she's also gone to see Corey's mom, who we've not really touched on her, is really mean to
Oh
Corey.
yeah.
And then when he gets in after being picked on by those mean bullies that stepped on his glasses, she's cross with him. Doesn't need his glasses, by the way, anymore. After they got
She
broken.
she's mean to him, but then uses affection to manipulate him. Like she slaps him at one point and he goes, "Oh, I love you. I'm so sorry." Tries to kiss him on the lips.
Yeah, but
And he's
didn't
like,
she like properly try to tongue him?
"Yeah, it's very strange." And her stepdad, aka the guy who like basically stays at the scrapyard watching movies all the time because he can't bear to be around her. A lot of times he's just sat in the corner quietly, like going, "I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for a wife who's treating people like this, and also a son who's clearly maybe got some."
Yeah. Said right, I'll do something about it as soon as I finished all of the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Yeah, and he's watching all the ones that no one cares about as well, just because he just.
Only knock off to go. Um. So yeah, we've had this scene. Corey's been to see Laurie's been to see Corey's Laurie and Corey been to see Corey's mom, and she's like, "Oh, your skank of a granddaughter would be lucky to have someone nice
Yeah,
like Corey
Jesus
who's not mad."
Christ. But
Yeah,
again, that's like it's like there's a toxic relationship there going on where it's like a mother sees their son could do no wrong, and then obviously, sure, a tragedy's happened, and she, in a way, is more protective of her son because of that, but it's manifested itself as this really controlling, dangerous, weird behavior.
yeah, and that's all happened, and then it's starting to come out like in other ways as well because we've had another scene with Allison at the clinic she works at where the other healthcare assistant has been like winding her up about going out with Corey. She goes, "Oh, just shut the fuck up, will you,
Mm.
dickhead?"
Well, at least I'm going out with Corey, and you're going out with the doctor. You're sleeping with some twat to like. I mean, I don't know whether it's to get. I don't know if it's to get ahead career wise, or it's just because he's got a lovely house and he's clearly earning a little bit of bunts.
Yeah, and we'll see that right now because
Yeah.
she's
So
the
she gets
doctor.
like passed over for the promotion, doesn't she? And the
Yeah,
fellow nurse gets it, and then the doctor takes her to his gaff to celebrate with some wine, maybe a cheese fondue.
he's got the pool. She goes, "Oh, just go and shower before swimming, as it is."
It's a lovely pool. No bombing, no running up and down, and certainly no petting. Unfortunately, that's probably what he's got in mind.
And he's gone, right. Oh, she's on shit. I've got to go and cross that rule off the pool rules.
He goes,
Come
"I've left you."
on.
Oh, what's he doing?
Just
I've left him a lovely. I've left him her lovely gift as well on the bed. It's a silicon kimono that she immediately puts on, just assuming it's for her, which I think is quite rude.
Yeah, but he's thought so. Oh, treat myself to a new kimono. I will have it gift wrapped actually. A little present
Yeah,
for myself.
leave it on the bed ready for me later when I come back. Yeah, yeah. What's this? What are you wearing my kimono for? Get it off! But he doesn't get a chance to do that because
Because
also
he opens his wine with Chekhov's white corkscrew.
Chekhov's corkscrew. And also, when she hears like a commotion, she refers to him as Doctor something over and over again. Like, does she not know his? Does she not know his first name? She must know his first name.
I was gonna say is his name Dr. Hazlitt, but that's the guy from Murder She Wrote.
Oh God,
Name
Doctor Mathis.
Dr.
Doctor
Mathis. Eminem's doctor. Dr. Yeah, calls for Dr. Mathis.
Doctor
Uh,
Mathis.
and she pops out to see what's going on, and he hasn't got what was he getting ready? Like the fire pit or something like that. He hasn't got that ready at all.
Yeah, I like this because you can see him getting stabbed in the background, can't you?
Yeah, he's being shanked up by Scarecrow Face.
Yeah, so Corey has got the scarecrow mask that he wore to the Halloween party. Has he got a jumper on? Can't remember.
And he's in full Scarecrow mode, and he's stabbing up the doctor, and he's not very forensically aware. He's wiping his grubby mitts all over the window. I
Oh
like
yeah.
how, from a killer point of view, it's a nice thematic and a nice difference of performance. Give this one credit where it's due. I like it how, unlike the deliberate methods of Michael Myers, he's quite frantic. So like
He's quite
and he's like beating on the door, like
yeah. He's quite frantic. Also, this is a nice callback, or thematically, to Michael Myers when he was like dressed as a clown when he was a kid and he killed his sister. And I'll tell you what does annoy me now is that Corey takes that mask off a lot, and also when he's got the Michael Myers mask on, he takes that off at every turn, and I'm almost like, it feels like it's the film trying to show us, look, it's him, when we know, look, it's him under that. Well, I know it's
You know
him.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we want to confirm it that it's definitely him, just in case you're confused. Okay, bit annoying.
We'll touch on it a bit later. I personally, I get it, it's probably a little bit more predictable, but for this film to have fit and felt like a more cohesive series, I would have perhaps had a little ambiguity as to whether it was Corey. I would have had
Yeah,
more
yeah,
or
yeah, that's a
less
good
in
idea.
his dialogue that didn't necessarily indicate that it was him. So it could be him.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have had the Michael Myers mask in for all of the killings,
Mm,
and then perhaps revealed, have Michael Myers killed, and then
yeah.
either have him as a final person or have some kind of, I guess it's a little
Yeah.
bit Scream if you have two killers and you're not sure which one's which.
Yeah.
I would have done two
Well,
things and then had him be revealed either as a surviving killer or as another threat
yeah.
in the last bit. But right now
I
we
got
it is immediately. So we saw Corey kill the doctor out outside. And then Michael, they double teamed it. The nurse is confronted by old Mike Myers himself, and he does his classic move. He's obviously feeling better. He does a wall pin with his
oh yeah.
pins her to the wall with his knife.
Special move. That's his fatality that he
That's his
does.
fatality. That's his signature dish that he
Mm-hmm.
does right there. So he does that, takes pins her to the wall, leaves them there, and they're doing some killing together. And then this
But what I kind of like about this is obviously you said two killers and Scream, but this is good because it's like a supernatural, unkillable monster at his like at a moment of where he's not at his full strength, and then just like a random dude who's kind of like helping him, and they're almost developing this like symbiotic relationship in a way.
little scarecrow boy.
Yeah, he should have kept. He should have just stayed as little scarecrow boy for God's sake. Yeah, okay. And then after that, Allison and Corey discussed their plan to leave Haddonfield because of all the past trauma. Now, although earlier Allison was like, "I don't want to leave. Got my memories here." Now she's like, "Yeah, why not?" And then Laurie's becoming more and more suspicious of Corey because she senses something. There's a bit earlier, so this is quite good, where she's in the house, she looks out on the street, and he's down there lurking by the hedge, similar to obviously the way Michael Myers did. Again, daytime Michael Myers. I like that.
Yeah.
And could have done a bit more of that. But yeah, she basically says, "Stay away from her. You can't. Don't. You're not going anywhere. Leave her alone." But Corey basically says,
Shan't
"You're
actually.
Shan, you're to blame for all the events that have happened in Haddonfield, and if I can't have her, no one can." Totally normal. Totally normal. Don't care what you say. Our first date, big argument. Second date, threatening your ex-boyfriend, who is a dick, but threatening him essentially. Third date, just after your third date, telling your grandmother that if I can't have her, no one can. This is all good. This is all perfect. I'm excited for where this relationship's
It's
gonna
like
go.
the Ayatollah and Bart's soul. If the
Yeah,
Ayatollah can't have it, nobody can.
nobody can. Jesus.
Um. So yeah, that he's becoming rapidly more and more unhinged, and
Hmm.
uh, Allison also has a row with Laurie. Goes, no, I love him, and you can't stop it.
I love him, and you can't stop it. Yeah, it's like all of that sort of cliche stuff where you're like, yeah, but he's definitely a wronger. No, no, I can't. I can't. I don't agree.
And
I don't
for
agree.
been hanging out for about 2 days,
Yeah,
really, really doubling down on it. Like we never see any fallout to the murder of the doctor and the nurse. I guess no one's checked.
we never see the fallout to the murder of the doctor. We don't see the fallout of the murder um,
The
of the
homeless,
homeless man, unless
homeless man
Michael took him into his lair and like consumed him somehow. Who
ate him
knows?
up to get his energy. But
Mm.
next up, we get to see Corey sets out a trap for those horrible bullies.
So is this when it? No, wait. Does he? Oh no! Wait, first of all, it says October 31st. Oh, it's Halloween, is it? Oh yeah. Well, what's everything happen on Halloween round here? He goes to the sewers and has a weird like dance fight. Well, it's just a fight with Michael for the mask. He basically says, "I need to borrow this." What does he say? I'll have this and need this for a bit.
Oh, lenders, giz it,
Lend us this mask.
giz it, will
It's
you?
almost like I need this mask in order to. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what he says. It's almost
Yeah,
like
because
the true power of Michael, that true supernatural, super strength stuff seems to come from the mask
he goes, "I'll giz a
in some
lend,"
way, a representation of it.
and then
Um,
they wrestle, and he snatches it off him and goes, "Oh, you're just a fella in a mask, aren't you? See ya."
Now you're just a man in a sewer in a boiler suit, so gutted.
Who's that?
Um,
Who are you?
who are you? I'm just Michael. Um, and yeah, goes to the scrapyard place
Well,
where his dad.
he lures the bullies there, but like in a way that I think even if you're a stupid bully, you think obviously a trap.
Obviously a trap, yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Um,
You think that he's got like his dad and the junkyard lads to come and like beat you up.
yeah, yeah. So what does he do? He writes "psycho" on their car,
Yeah.
scratches it in. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
Right.
Feels a bit silly.
Let's cook past Babtridge on the
Yeah,
on its car.
hot, hot Baz Babtridge. Yes, oh no, cockpit Babtridge. Oh no. Um, and basically the way he kills them is, uh, what does he do? Who does he get first? Oh yeah, he shoves a drumstick in the one's eye. Who's always drumming with the drumsticks.
Yeah, so they go,
Classic.
oh, what's drumsticks doing in the car? Oh no, he's been got. That'd be it for me. It wouldn't be like oh,
Yeah.
let's still look for him.
Let's still
Um,
look for him. So they go to the stepdad, and he goes, "What's that? Drumsticks has had his eyes crushed in. Uh, here you are, little kid. Not little kid, but here you are, a high school kid. Have
have
this
this
rifle."
revolver. Oh, and he gives him a rifle.
Gives him a rifle.
Gives him a rifle and
And
says, "Right, I'm going to take the old 6 shooter. You stay here." Meanwhile,
I don't think
like,
you'd give a random kid a gun, would you? You take a gun out yourself and go and investigate. But I don't think you'd give a random kid a gun.
Neo
Um,
Michael Myers has started up a car, and two of the other bully girls are trying to climb over
yeah. Well,
the gate.
it's like the towing vehicle, isn't it, that he's got?
Yeah,
Um, And again, we did see Michael drive a car. And was it in Kills? He like drove a car into something. I can't remember. I know this isn't
he
Michael.
loves driving a car. He drove a car in the original, but this version of Michael seems great with cars.
Hmm.
Um, and he one of them has just got over the gate and immediately gets plowed down, and she's crushed underneath it. But she's all right at the minute. Don't worry.
Yeah, it didn't kill
Um,
her. It just trapped her.
one of the other girl tries to help her escape, but Neo Michael, gives her a wrench in.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Always reminds
and,
me of Super when someone gets bashed with a wrench.
yeah. And again, it's super brutal. And there's like those really quick cuts of like what clearly is practical effects, like a head getting caved in for a second. That's pretty good.
That's the last one, isn't it? So she gets
That's the
bashed. Oh
last
no,
one. Yeah.
she gets bashed with the she gets bashed with the wrench. And this is a brutal scene. This is like on a par, if not surpassing the previous one.
Yeah, and this is at this point in this part of the film feels like Halloween Kills. It feels like it's going back to that brutal, almost like nonsensical, just murder of it. And I think like I always preferred the stalking Michael. You know, like the scene in the 2018 version where he just walks from house to house,
Yeah.
picking up a knife, killing someone. Like that stalking Michael. I think that's what feels legit to me. This felt like the Angel of Death Halloween Kills Michael.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the kid arrives with the gun, aims it at Corey, and then Corey does his favorite thing, takes off the mask. His stepdad sees that it's the mask, turns to try and stop the kid from shooting him. And even though I'm guessing that guy's never shot a rifle before, headshot.
Yeah. Blows his poor dad's head away. Like, probably the last good influence that Corey had left.
Yeah, that's true. There we
Um,
go. So that's probably representative of something, isn't it?
he gets blown away, and then and then the bully boy goes to try and save the girl that's underneath the fence.
Again, why are we made to think that this bully characters? Why are we suddenly made to think that they like all care about each other as well? It's very vibe wise. It's off. In 1 minute they're like these malicious evil bastards. The other time they're almost like, yeah, I don't know.
They're
It's
just
strange.
all good mates together. And it fails though, and he gets this Terry, is that the bully boy?
I don't know actually. Yeah, how does he die? Can't remember.
Oh no, Terry was the little boy that got
I'm not
knocked
sure who
over.
the bully boy is, but does he just?
But
How does he die? Does he
he
just
gets
get?
he gets blowtorched in the face.
Oh yeah. See, that was good and a bit unexpected, and I guess similar in a way to kills. But this is the thing: it isn't Michael Myers, and I know we're supposed to think, oh, it's the mask that sort of has this
Yeah.
like relentless need to kill in this super evil, horrible way. But yeah, blowtorches him, turns him into a jack-o'-lantern, which obviously
Yeah.
we've seen before.
And then
Um,
Pumpkin patches the girl that's under the fence.
yeah, smush.
Stomps
So
her.
he just drives over her. Is that right?
No,
Drives or
just
does he
stomps
smush?
stomps on her with his
Oh, stomps. That's right. Yeah, this is
does
all
a
pretty good.
does a
And then he go
stomp.
and then while he's got his kill streak live, he goes to kill his mum.
Yeah.
Um,
How does he get her now?
he just goes up behind her and I think she turns and screams, and then I don't think you see it. I think she turns and screams. He raises a knife because I think he goes into the kitchen drawer, gets like the iconic big kitchen knife out,
Yeah.
and then I think it cuts away, and then we see her dead. Then he goes to the radio station, kills the receptionist first. And then did you recognize the receptionist?
Now, I do. Is it the lady from the last drive-in?
It sure is, yeah. So I can't remember. She's the one who answers opens the letters. Diana Price, I think her name is. I won't say Diana Prince because
Then
we
it
all,
is
all know
it
who
is
that is.
Diana, it is Diana Prince,
Oh, it's Diana Prince,
as in
as
Wonder
in
Woman.
it's got to be a stage name then if that's the case. Yeah. So she gets killed, and then this is good and brutal and horrific. DJ gets like his head smashed into the mixing desk, and then his tongue cut off. But this is again some more really good practical effects.
Big pair of scissors, cuts his tongue off.
Yeah. And then we go back to the Strode house where it looks like Laurie is gonna kill herself.
Yeah,
Now,
sad because her granddaughter has abandoned her. She's the only one left in this world.
mhm,
And she prepares
phone-
everything, gets a gun ready, phones the police, and says, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself." So just be aware of that, please,
the
police.
most snub-nosed of all the snub-nosed guns I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like it's next to nothing in terms of that barrel. But
And
yeah,
then
but Corey's on his way as well.
and then as he pops his head around the door, she's made this phone call. She's upset. Corey pops his head around the door, and she's not
and this
about to shoot herself. She goes, "Ha!
and this was from the
Acting."
trailer. Now imagine watching that trailer when we reacted to this trailer. Now imagine watching that trailer and then having someone go, "That's not Michael Myers in that bit." You'd be
No.
like, "What? What are
Yeah.
you on about? Of course it is. I'll bet my life that it is."
If it had been Michael Myers, he might have dealt with it a little differently. But Corey pauses and gets a couple in the chest and then falls down the stairs.
Falls down the stairs and again immediately takes that mask off. Now I know it's supposed to be like so it's effective and makes Laurie be like, "Oh my god, it's you! I knew you had the evil of Michael in you as well," or something like that. But again, I feel like it's doing it to kind of show us that. What thing annoyed me where someone kept taking the mask off? Can't remember what it was. Might have been a superhero thing, some kind of superhero thing, where
Judge
someone
Dredd.
kept taking a mask off. Oh yeah, well, he didn't take the mask off at all, did he, old Carlo? But oh, you mean like the original
The original
uh,
Sylvester Stallone
Sylvester
one.
Stallone one, taking the mask off all the time? We're not supposed to. Yeah, it was annoying. It was annoying me when he kept taking the mask off. I feel like it took me out of this. Okay, I know it's not Michael Myers, and also when did he upgrade his outfit to blue boiler suit?
Yeah, he must have just gone and I guess his dad ran a junkyard, probably got one from there. Got some overalls.
Still kind of weird, and he put the mask on. And he went, "Hang on a minute, something's missing here. I need the full costume. Ain't mucking about." Um, yeah, yeah. And then when it looks like she's gonna kill him, well, she shot him a couple of times,
He
and he
shot him a
still
couple of
seems to
times and
be.
he's at the bottom of the stairs, but they have time for a little chat. And he goes, oh, you're never gonna cop off with Allison, all right? Because you're bad. And he goes, well, if I can't have her, no one will. But as I can't kill you, I'm going to frame you for my murder. And he hears, must hear a keys in the door or something. He goes, ah.
Now he hears the car coming. He hears the car pulling up, and he laughs like, "Ha ha." But so he kills himself.
Yeah.
And it's completely inconsequential and makes absolutely no sense to everything that's come before, because I thought the point was that this was going to be the new Michael Myers, the evil was going to live on, that if Michael Myers dies, somebody else is going to inherit
But
that supernatural power.
not that at all. All that goes in the bin with this scene. He basically sets it up and says, now I made it look, and then Allison comes
So
in just
are we
as
supposed to feel that this what doesn't make sense? We're supposed to think that Corey values stitching up Laurie and ruining her relationship with her granddaughter. He values that
more so than
more
being
so.
alive and being a Michael Myers.
And as an evil Michael Myers, he could kill Laurie, or well, maybe not kill Laurie, but I'm sure. Yeah, this is the thing. It just seems to throw all that in the bin for something that doesn't seem to have too much weight. Then, of course, Allison walks in, thinks that Laurie's killed him. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
So I hate you. I'm off.
I'm off.
I am leaving. I've had enough of being in this town. And it's all yeah, she's on the road. Laurie is left alone and in her
Now
uh
it just
her
feels like it's not
despair.
earned, because I feel like Corey and Laurie, there isn't enough of a connection between them or a story between them for me to suddenly be like, oh fuck, he's really fucked her over here. It's I don't know. I feel like
Just a bit
the story
petty
needs
and a bit shallow.
to be either he is a bastard and he's trying to manipulate Allison and Laurie, or he wants to be a new Michael Myers. It feels like he's trying to play both of those cards at the same time, and doesn't double down enough. Doesn't double down at all on either one of them. So either one of them kind of feels a bit unfinished, unbelievable, and yeah, not all that
Right. And
effective.
it's kind of abandoned, isn't it, at this moment. And then Ben, this happens. We've been over
Oh yeah, Romeo
now
and Juliet ends.
and
Okay.
now it's Halloween ends because then I'm guessing he just stuck to the shadows and was maskless. Michael Myers comes up, takes the mask back, puts it
You
on,
wait. I'm gonna have that mask. Second, your back's turned. Oh, he's dead. Okay. Oh
like
no,
puts it
my
on.
apprentice is dead. But
He's
also,
not there. He's all right. He's like, I'm not dead. And Michael Myers,
why would he not? Why would he be all right? He's been shot. He's been stabbed. Oh, he's again. Are we supposed to feel that somehow that's supernatural, unkillable?
he's got just a little soupçon of Michael Myers'
Oh
power,
yeah.
but it's
I'm alive.
not enough to not get your head twisted off like a bird.
Yeah. So he twists his head off.
Yeah, twists his head off and
And
then nips back into the kitchen and has a fight with Laurie. Much of it we saw in the trailer, but we do get a
I mean,
fight.
pretty much all of it we saw in the trailer. So yeah, there's a fight. There's a lot of like slinging her over the kitchen table, trying to put her hand in the garbage disposal thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
but she
but
nuts
of
him,
course,
she stabs
he's
him.
he's probably at what 40%.
Yeah,
So
maybe
it's been growing, but he's clearly not as powerful as he's got some power back from killing people, but not as many. So Laurie can still like pretty much go toe to toe with him, headbutting him, stabs him in the hand, pinning him, and stabs him in the other hand as well.
Pins his arms down, gets on top of him and stabs him in the chest. Drops a fridge on his legs.
Yeah.
And then slits his throat.
Well, first of all, she shows him his reflection in the knife, which I thought was quite nice.
Yeah, have a look at this.
I like that. I was like, that is a shiny knife. How'd you get that knife so shiny? She was like, dishwasher.
Brasso, mate.
Yeah. Takes his mask off. And then slits his throat. And then but in that exact moment, he pulls his hand free, similar to the way the hand was split in half in Men.
Yeah, he gets a men hand.
Yeah. He gets a bloody men hand. Grabs her by the throat, but then Allison arrives. So obviously, when she's driven away.
Yeah, Frank gives her a ring, doesn't he? Frank goes,
"Oh yeah, that's right."
See, Laurie,
oh yeah, of course.
Just phoned in that she's gonna kill herself, and she goes, "Oh, all right."
It's so convoluted because you just be like, "What?" She phoned in that she killed herself. She's gonna kill herself. I don't know. It's all a bit mad. She goes back, and then in the most horrific, brutal, and almost like I'd look at Allison and be like, Jesus Christ, just walks in and like breaks his arm.
Yeah, she walks in because
fucking hell.
She's pretty stressed. I guess at this point now, does she intrinsically believe, oh, Corey probably was bad, wasn't he?
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't think she witnessed any actual violence from him. So here's the thing: there probably needed to be a moment for to fully get hammered home that he's a wrong un. She would have needed to witness something, an act of violence by him, but she didn't, which again leaves that plot thread kind of dangling.
Yeah, like otherwise she might think, yeah, Corey was good, but Michael Myers was just coincidentally also here.
It's very strange.
Busts his arm.
And then Laurie slices his wrist, and apparently that finally kills him. Now she's taking his mask off, obviously, and we see his face a bit, not so much. I think we saw his face more in Halloween Kills, didn't we?
We didn't see that much. We don't focus on it that much, and I guess because I like it that you retain a bit of mystique there, or is it mostly because the actor that plays Michael Myers is a stuntman really, and not 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 a physical. He's not like doing Shakespeare in the park. Maybe he is. I don't know.
But all he had to do was be dead, wasn't it? But yeah, so we see him kind of dead, and then now, if loads more came before this, and loads of different stuff came before this, I would have kind of been happy with this as a potential end, because they take his body, they display it on top of their car.
They come out and go, what are we doing? This isn't protocol. And the sheriff, the one that was in the last one, but has not been in this one at all.
Yeah.
He comes up and says, don't worry.
Got the same hat on.
It's not normal tonight. It's parade season.
But you know what? The kind of things that I liked about this was the fact that earlier on we saw that the community was damaged and everyone was still kind of traumatized by everything that happened before it. And this act of like displaying his body and getting everybody to like join in as if it's like some sort of float
brings the community together, really, doesn't it?
Brings the community together. But also it kind of makes sense that it was like a cleansing of that trauma in a way. Cleansing the town of Haddonfield. But also he didn't have the mask on, so it could have just been any old bloke. No, they're gonna come out and go, who's that?
Do you recognize all the characters? I swear one of the kids is like, it's like bloody Tony Stark's funeral out here. You got like little boy from Halloween 2018, the one that is being babysat. I was like, shut up.
He was there, was
Dave. I think that was him.
There was a woman in it as well that we didn't mention that survived Halloween Kills. I think we just assumed she was dead, but
young lady with the drone, isn't it? Yeah, she's in a wheelchair. Now, but yeah, she's in a
wheelchair now, yeah.
She's there at the funeral. Sheriff's there. Laurie's there. Allison's there.
This is an act of like cleansing for the community, I guess, of Haddonfield, and there's no way that you can assume that he's going to come back from this unless his spirit lives on and the evil of Michael Myers somehow goes into somebody else.
And also, there is no way that you're having that metal grinding machine as prominently in a film when no one's going in it.
Yeah.
They do.
And also, Laurie climbs up there and like, bloody hell, be careful. Don't
Health and
fall in.
safety. And also, Allison knows how it works. She's like, yeah, on.
Yeah. I did think that. I was like, how'd you even get this started? She's like, did you? And this is, to be fair, a pretty good effect. We see Michael Myers' body being disposed of in all his glory, just getting mushed up in the sort of shredder thing, industrial shredder. And that's that. Michael Myers is gone, dead and gone. It was a weird journey getting to the final killing, but the final 20 minutes were kind of, I guess, what we expected this movie to be, but in
Yeah.
a much more
It was a confrontation. Certainly, they had one, and Laurie and Allison hold hands, and then we go back. Michael Myers' mask is just a thing that sits on a kitchen table now, while she finishes her memoirs
and rediscovers a romance with Mr.
Oh yeah.
Deputy
She goes, "Do you want to
Hawkins.
let's go and have a look at those cherry blossoms? Do
And
you?"
he's fluent. He's speaking fluent Japanese now.
And he says that in Japanese, which I won't say here, but the subtitles underneath say, "Yeah, baby." And she's like, "Oh no, too soon."
Yeah, baby. He says, "Evil died." Am I right?
Yeah.
That's that. That's
I
the
love
end
it
of
for music. It was
Halloween
then.
ends. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Have we got any name game?
Oh
Before
yes,
we go and rate
Ben.
the film?
Have you got any? Do you want me to run through some, or do you want to round robin this one?
Let's round robin it.
All right then. So here is the first one. What's the synopsis? I'll
The
run into it.
saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in this final installment of the trilogy. It's not really a synopsis, but still.
Right. So the saga of Michael Myers comes to an end when he has to go without because of the cost of living crisis, and he can't afford to put his central heating on.
Halloween spends.
The opposite, because he hasn't put the heating on. Ben, he's not warm.
Halloween. Is it just the last word that I need to think about?
Yeah, just the last word this time.
Halloween. I don't know. What is it?
It's cold because he hasn't got to put the heating on. He's just having to stay at home and relax, relax in a cold house because he can't go out.
Can't go out. It's just relaxing. Halloween.
Oh no! Tell you what, I've rhymed with the wrong one. That was for the previous one, Halloween chills. I'll do one for actually this one.
Ah, you stitched me right up.
Halloween,
and I gave away my first one as well.
Oh no! Right, I'll try and forget it.
Damn it!
I'll give you another one that's actually for the right one. So, because of the cost of living crisis, the saga of Michael Myers comes to an end when, rather than buy a new boiler suit, he just repairs the one he already has.
Halloween men's.
Halloween men's, correct.
I like it. Okay. Mine is the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax that goes viral when it becomes the top searched hashtag on Twitter.
Halloween trends.
Correct. Yes.
So here is another one for you. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a climax when Michael Myers puts his criminal ways aside and distributes snacks to people in an office or hospital setting by posing as a big square machine.
Halloween Vens.
Halloween Vens, correct.
Oh wow. Okay. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a healthy climax in this final installment of this trilogy when they share a lovely smoothie together. Get all the fruit and vegetables in the house, waz it up, and enjoy a lovely smoothie together.
Halloween blends.
Halloween blends, correct.
I got another one for you here. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to an end with they decide to solve their differences with a penalty shootout competition, and Michael has an advantage because he's learned to curve the ball like one of his favorite soccer stars.
Oh yeah, that's good. Halloween bends.
There's a few more words in this one.
Halloween bends it like Beckham.
Yes, Halloween bends it like Beckham.
Oh. Wonderful. Is that it?
I think that's all I have.
Okay. That's plenty. That's plenty. That's good. Okay, so we need to rate the movie, and we're also, because me and Andy did a franchise ranking episode a little while ago for the Halloween franchise, for all of the movies except this one, we're gonna discuss where it would go in our ranking as well. Any thoughts at this stage? Are you gonna rank this one?
I hadn't really
Ooh.
thought about letters until this point.
Yeah, same here.
I think maybe I think versus how I felt about it the rest of the day. I think having talked about it,
I swear we must say that every single episode
I
now.
reckon talked about it and talking through it. Maybe there are some more elements to it that I will mellow on over time and I will enjoy a little bit more. I think I liked it. I know that I liked it more than Halloween Kills. Um because it tried to do something. I felt it was disjointed and it had an idea that it then threw away, and it required to throw away some of the progress and some of the setup they'd made in Halloween Kills to run with this idea that they had. But there were some individual things, and unlike Halloween Kills, I didn't think that it deliberately tried to waste my time. I enjoyed and didn't enjoy things to different levels, but things happened on this
Yeah.
one. And the ending scene that would have fit just at the end of Halloween Kills,
Yeah.
it was a fine one. So I am going to give. Oh, I feel like I'm damning it with faint praise, but I'm going to give Halloween Ends a C.
Okay.
Not bad,
Damning it with faint praise. I
damning it
can't
with
remember.
faint praise, but a lovely, acceptable, but not spectacular C for this one.
Yeah. I probably am gonna go for a C plus. I can't remember exactly what I did for Halloween Kills. Hopefully it's less than that, otherwise I'll be inconsistent and ridiculous. But look, I had a bad time with Halloween Kills. It annoyed me, it frustrated me. I felt like it wasted my time. I felt like it went nowhere. Now, this film is a mess. This film vetoes a lot of interesting things it put forward in Halloween 2018 and in Halloween Kills. Veto some of them, but does try and do something different. It's weird, it's wacky, it's completely unexpected. You know, there's no way I could have predicted this is the way it was going to go. But after the events of Halloween Kills, that maybe like pushed me to the very brink of what I thought an enjoyable Halloween movie could be, and not in a good way, like pushed me right to the edge. Like, oh, all right, I just want kills, nothing more than kills. I know it's called Kills, but give me all the kills. This tried to do something, and you know, in years to come, we might look back on this and think of it in the same sort of vein as Season of the Witch, which I'm sure when it came out, and Michael Myers ain't even in it. What the hell is ridiculous? This is awful. Maybe not the same as that, but there's potential there, I think, for it to be considered like a misunderstood, not classic, but like a misunderstood cult favorite, possibly.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Not saying that's how I view it. I don't think it is how I view it. It's in terms of the trilogy, tonally all over the place. I'm annoyed by the fact that clearly this trilogy wasn't planned at all. That annoys me. The fact that like so much money has gone into it, and they've clearly tried to stretch like a story across maybe two movies, and then they've added things in last minute. What about this? What if we had this? Oh, that's good actually. Yeah, I'll write that down on the whiteboard. Oh my
The
god.
film idea you had for the majority of this film, let people make new horror boogeymen. You could have made a story out of this that was
Yeah.
completely non Halloween related. Make a bold statement, Ben. Turn Halloween back into an anthology
Trilogy.
franchise.
Yeah. Um, and there was a lot of interesting things that I kind of liked. Now, I didn't always like where they went with it, and sometimes they just dropped it completely, and that was annoying. But I kind of respect it for the fact that it did kind of introduce this, like this evil lives on, or evil can be passed over,
Yeah.
or maybe like Michael Myers is going to die, but then a different evil is going to live on. Now, the way it eventually ended was not satisfying, with these plot threads. However, seeing Michael eventually go through the mulcher, whatever it is. Oh, well, yeah, that's a decent enough conclusion for me. Not great, but Halloween Kills did my nut in so much that maybe I just wanted anything. and I kind of respect it for the fact it wasn't just Halloween Kills Part 2, which is kind of part of me was a little bit worried about that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go for a C plus. Again, I might cool on that in time, or I might become more fond of it in time. And in terms of where this ranks with the franchise, I'm not 100% sure because it's a bloody difficult one, isn't it? It's definitely above Halloween Kills for me. So in the ranking between Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, and Halloween Kills, I'm gonna put Halloween Ends.
What number is that on your list?
So it's number 7 in my list.
Oh, okay. Uh,
So
so what are your ones above that then? Just go through your first top five then. If
so
sorry,
the
your
top
first top
five,
six.
top six. So it's Halloween 2018, then Halloween 1978, then Season of the Witch, then Halloween 4, which I, had a better time with than perhaps I was expecting. Then Halloween 2, then Halloween Rob Zombie, then Halloween Ends, then Halloween Kills, and then
Okay.
obviously the rest.
Um, so I'm with you for most of it. I think we have quite similar to begin with. I go Halloween 2018, Halloween 1979, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, then Halloween 2, then Halloween 4, then this one, Halloween Ends, and then I go H2O, 5, Kills, Rob Zombie 2, Resurrection, and then The Curse of Michael Myers in 13th
Yeah.
place. Tell you what, though, Ben, missed opportunity. I'd have whacked out an extra star for this. This is the 13th Halloween movie. Give me a hockey
Yeah.
mask just sat at the junkyard somewhere.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice.
Or when Corey is picking masks out, let him pick out a hockey mask. Come on.
Yeah. Or just wear like an original, just an actual William Shatner mask.
You were talking about the skeleton at the bottom of the pool being Silent Hill. Friday the 13th is that in the for horror franchises.
Right now. It sure is. Okay. What I'll do as well is I'm gonna get a lovely screenshot of our Halloween rankings. Not this one, sorry. Sorry. I just don't
No,
pose
no,
it
I mean that was for you to like make it appear.
Yeah.
If I
Okay.
put my hands like this, can you see?
Yeah.
Is it there?
I'll get a screenshot and I'll share it on socials, just like that. Um,
Yeah.
I'll share it on socials so you can see what our Halloween ranking looks like now as well after this episode goes live. So I'll put that on our Instagram or something. But yeah, it was a weird experience. But I'd rather have a weird experience where I'm like unsure of how I feel of a film rather than an experience where I'm like, I hate this. And I didn't. And I know a lot of people did hate this, and you invest a lot of time and you invest a lot of hope into films like this, and when they don't end up how you wanted them to, it can be frustrating. But
Yeah. I think
we
it's about mitigating that, isn't it? Because I've seen people have enjoyed it, people have not enjoyed it, and there are those extreme ends. Like I've seen people saying this is a film that people will study in
yeah.
years to come. All right, professor,
Uh,
get to work on global warming or something, right? Or he's not offended. Neither should you be. You can like it or not, but you know, be offended about stuff that is important. Like worry about these things. Worry about different things. This is a film that you either enjoyed or didn't.
yeah.
For me, is it has it come together as a fantastic trilogy? No. Do I care that much? Nah, it was fine. It was.
Yeah.
I think
We've still got the 2018 Halloween, right?
yeah, and that's it. It's such a strange thing to look at from the creative perspective that genuinely from such a really diverse range of quality in terms of that film, it is strange that these sequels, um, comparatively a short number of years apart, and as part of what is meant to be a trilogy, are going to have such a different reaction to across the board.
Yeah. They're totally all over the place, aren't they?
Following that first one, which I think was the perfect legacy sequel, like
Yeah.
2018, fantastic. The others have struggled to carry on that momentum because I think it was really hard to undo that as an ending.
Yeah.
You get to see some more Michael Myers. I think
Yeah.
Unless
Okay.
I'm ever doing a binge and watching them all, I'll probably just watch the best one
Yeah.
as a standalone film.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it works. Okay. So that is that. That's Halloween Ends. Obviously, let us know what you think of the film. Whether you enjoyed it, whether you hated it, or whether you
Whether you're
don't
offended,
even care.
whether you'll be
I don't
sticking it for
care
years to
anymore.
come.
So thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our patrons: John Crinnan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Laura Kendrick, Toby Miller, Lane Spencer, Ollie Child, Leslie Carlo, Julia Bilgren, Nick Spill, Rob Parker, and Pazuzu. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review and head over to the Facebook group Horror Hangout Board of Advisors for more. We're on Twitter at horror_hangout_, and we're on Instagram at horror hangout podcast. Next week is, I guess it's a Halloween special next week, because it's the last episode before the big day. John Crinnan, patron against his will and friend of the show and regular collaborator, will be joining us to talk about Ghost Watch, which should be fun.
30 years since Ghostwatch.
30
Yeah,
bloody years.
30
Yeah.
years old. And then tell you what, the world willing, I will be joining you, Ben, live via satellite from Vegas.
Live via satellite from Vegas. That's kind of terrifying in a way. And amazing, you know?
I'll come Hollywood. I'll put some glasses
Have
on.
that background, you know, when you're like the entertainment correspondent for like the news.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
News or something. We've got our entertainment correspondent. You've gone all the way to Vegas, and for some reason you're still covering a BBC made for TV horror special. Okay. Looking forward to it. But yeah. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.
Yeah, bye everybody.
See you later.
Evil died tonight.
Evil dies. Am I right?